Welcome to our regular open meeting of the Third Laguna Hills Mutual Board, and we are broadcasting from our new boardroom. Um, Please be patient with us today because some directors might forget to turn on their microphone, or we might not be perfect, but we have a wonderful staff here to help us, so thank you. I would like to, we have a quorum, actually, everyone's here today on the board. So we can move now to the Pledge of Allegiance with Susie Kane. That's right. Is the media present? Okay, no. Uh, do I have a motion? Oh, this is going to be exciting to approve the agenda. Second,
I second.
uh, so now there's all supposed to be voting
The first mover was Steve Parsons. Can I get a second, please? Who was that?
from Jules.
Jules got it.
I did.
Recording.
And we are ready to vote.
And your vote screen should be there. And see, Bunny, can you go ahead and vote?
Again, please forgive us. This is
And Steve Parsons, there you go. All right, great. And recording the vote.
okay. All have approved. Our votes will do not include me as the president. I don't vote unless it's a tiebreaker. Okay, so now we've approved the agenda. So now, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? And we'll put both sets of minutes together if we can from May 16th and June 6th.
Can we get a motion, please, on your button? We have Annette is a mover and Bill Walsh is a second.
Okay, so if we have a first and a second, so all those well, just please vote. I don't have to say anymore. All those in favor.
James, could you vote for us, please?
I abstain because I wasn't here.
Oh, I see it. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Recording the vote.
Okay, so the motion passes. All right, so we are now up to the report of the chair. Well, I've already said, apologized if we get a little bit crazy, off kilter today because we are working with a new system. We ask you that if you attend any meetings in the boardroom, that you cover your coffee cups, otherwise we'll get in trouble. Though I did catch our CEO the other day without his covered, so don't feel shy about pointing it out if you ever see anyone.
I would be punished.
He had to work this weekend, so he doesn't get a day off. So the biggest thing that I have to say, other than the fact that all of the directors have exciting and interesting things to report based on their specific areas, so I never like to take their thunder away. So all I will really mention is our elections are coming up, and we are going to have 4 people who will be leaving or whose term is up. That doesn't mean to say they're leaving. So their terms are up. So Bert is going to touch on the election calendar later during the meeting. I believe it's number 13. So please remember, it's very important for you to serve the community. A really good thing is sometimes I could even be running through the gate, and sometimes a gate ambassador will say thank you for all you give to the community. So it's a rewarding thing. The only thing that isn't rewarding is when somebody complains about something not being done. But then we get to send it to Brad and he gets it done. So that is the most important thing. So that is my report. We've changed things around a little bit. The next item that we're going to, because we don't like to keep the residents waiting, is we have the open forum. So residents are welcome to come up to the mic, do the usual, give your name and manor number. And this actually has a timer in the system, so that we don't have to do that. And we do allow 3 minutes per person. And we do not answer you directly after your comments. We wait until everyone makes their comments and then the board will respond. So we are ready to start.
My name is Elaine Lester. I live at 407A Avenida Castilla. We bought the property at 5212 Elvira 6 months ago. We have not moved into nor started renovations on our new home for all this time. That means we have been paying double HOA fees, double utilities, double taxes, and double all the expenses that we as residents have here in Laguna Woods. Not to mention the tremendous stress and sleepless nights that this has cost us. Why has this happened? We submitted our original variance request in late December for a bedroom extension and patio and common area identical to others in Gate 11 that also had been approved. Then our outrageous nightmare began. We were approved at the February board meeting, but the neighbor behind us, who is an HOA attorney, initiated legal action against the board, intimidating them to put our request on hold. Although there is screening between our homes, the neighbors felt that having sliding glass doors in a patio would cause unwanted activity and potential noise. So we agreed to pay for a 45-foot sound fence, but the board denied this. To accommodate the neighbors, we had our architect revise our plans to move the sliders to the original location, replace the slider in the bedroom to windows, and return the patio to its original open design. We submitted this revised plan to Brett Crane at Manor Alterations, and on March 30th received a formal letter of approval by the board. On April 4th, we were given the agreement, had it notarized, and returned it to the president for her signature. This was signed by President DiLorenzo, but she then erased it, again halting our progress. On May 2nd, after her consultation with neighbors, Ms. Gottlieb presented us with a list of additional conditions. We were told we could not have any rear access to the outside of our home or put any sliders or other doors anywhere else on the perimeter of the house. Yes, the very same sliders and open patio that every resident in Gate 11 has, including the neighbors. We were required to sign that we, our heirs, or any future owners would never be able to reapply for a patio. This is against current Laguna Woods policy. We believe that Sandra Gottlieb has bent over backwards to satisfy the neighbor, Janet Powers, because of their longtime association with her in HOA organizations. We have been restricted by the board to do things that no other resident in Laguna Woods has ever been told to do. We've been patient and accommodating, that yesterday we were told by Ms. Gottlieb that if we do not sign their outrageous demands, the board will take our approval away. And more importantly, even if we do sign, we cannot have an open patio on an existing footprint, leaving us no open space. This reeks of discrimination. At this point, if the board sanctions these unreasonable conditions and revokes our approval, we will have no choice but to bring legal action against the board, notify the media, and organizations that deal with housing discrimination. We implore the board to do the right thing and not tarnish the reputation of Laguna Woods.
Thank you. As stated earlier, you will get back to the residents when all of the residents have made their comments.
Rosemary, could you ask the speaker name your manor, because 407, that's in United.
No.
No.
Marvin
Okay.
Rawich,
No. All right.
55 Chen 3B. I have to be the
Excuse me.
building check.
Sorry, what's your first name?
Pardon?
What's your first name?
Oh, Marvin.
Thank you.
Excuse me, may I ask a question? Chuck, is the microphone on for the, because I just got a note. We just won. Judith said she could not hear some of the comments. Okay. And we didn't start your time yet, so this was not a delaying tactic, because then I could say, oh, your time's up. No. All right, are we ready, Chuck? Okay, go right ahead. Marvin.
Now, Marvin Rawich, 55103B. I happen to be the building captain thereof. And last Thursday, I was amazed to see one of the landscape people with a leaf blower blowing dust all over the first floor. And I was led to believe that that wasn't going to happen anymore and that we were going to have vacuum cleaners 36 times a year and no more blowers. I was amazed and disappointed to see that. So my question is the board really serious about doing this? Because I'm beginning to wonder. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm ready to go. My name is Richard Thomas. I live at 3246 San Amadeo, Unit N.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Richard Thomas, Thomas. My unit is 3246 San Amadeo, Unit N, Unit Q, excuse me.
3246Q.
3246
Q.
Q.
Thank you.
The reason I
So could you wait, because we don't, okay, go ahead, Richard.
Okay. The reason I'm here now is because the fact that I want to bring to the attention of everyone in reference to the changes that someone had decided to do in regards to the roofs of various units. They used to, for the ethics of this community, you know, everyone's done a marvelous job through the years for the design of the community. Also in reference to the shakes and also the tile roofing, and then previously to that, the center portions of the tile roofs of the units have the rock, which is the red rock, and I understand the hot mops. But now they've decided to change that and put in, for various reasons, probably for the sun reflection or also for possibly the longevity of the roofs. But they decided to put in these white plastic covers that they then seal. And so now we have the normal tile roofs with this white plastic top. And from a standpoint of the beauty and continuity of this community, it was quite alarming when I looked out my deck, and all of a sudden I had this reflective white plastic that is in front of me. In regards to that, as time had gone by, those roofs now are filled with dirt, dust, and it's just an eyesore each day I go out. My mother's unit, I live at 3246 San Amadeo. My mother was at 3125 Via Serena, and it's the same thing that occurred there. It also, it was very difficult, since she just passed away recently, to sell her unit and have the interest. And the comments that were received by my real estate personnel was that the comments were they didn't want to look at this white roof that was out in front of them. So it was very, very difficult to sell. Just so that everyone can see, this is presently what was done before. And it was very attractive. And it blended in with the trees and landscape of the community. Now what we have is this. Excuse me. As you can see, this now is an eyesore. You can see the dirt build up already. You can see how it just is gotten worse. And this was taken a few months ago. And I had it in my camera for a particular board meeting, but I was involved with my mother's passing, as I mentioned. But now, 3 months later, this dirt that's piled up on this roof has increased substantially. It's even double what you're looking at right now. So I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, that they could please reconsider possibly changing the white. Maybe the people that manufacture this particular plastic can design one that has continuity and color that could at least complement the tile roofing.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good morning, I'm Chris Collins. I'm here representing the
Name and
foundation.
Manor number. please.
Yes, I'm getting to that. So I'm 3306Q. Today I want to share a bit more about the foundation's cooperative effort with Alzheimer's Orange County to provide services to qualifying village residents. If you need a break from caregiving, now you can have one with Drop-Off Respite Care Service at the new R&R Respite Program at the brand new South County Adult Daycare Center located at 24260 El Toro Road in Laguna Woods. You will be able to run errands, go to medical appointments, visit with friends, or just relax for a few hours, all with the peace of mind knowing that your loved one is being supervised and cared for in a safe and caring place. With assistance of funding from the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, there is a limited time offer for Laguna Woods residents. They can try the R&R Respite Program for free. An initial screening and paperwork are required prior to starting. And for more information or to enroll, please call the Laguna Woods Village Social Services. We are very proud to be able to partner with Alzheimer's Orange County to offer this new service and to assist village residents facing financial difficulties. As one resident recently wrote in a thank you note, and I quote, "In these hard times when anyone can be facing financial difficulty, it's comforting to know that the Foundation of Laguna Woods is devoted to some level of relief for those in crisis. We in the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village are so grateful for the generosity of many village clubs, as well as individuals who make our work possible through generous contributions. The Men's Golf Club raised over $43,000 in May to help us accomplish our goals. This is certainly an excellent demonstration of the positive effect of teamwork. The community, the Men's Golf Club, and VMS to benefit the foundation. Thank you so much."
Thank you, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Name
My name is Elizabeth Martin. I live at 3324A. This is my friend behind me, Suzanne Smith. She is my friend who lives in my unit. I understand that Third is considering preventing people like Suzanne from living in the unit that I own. I'd like to know what the board's rationale for this policy is. I understand that there have been abuses, and I question why we need to punish the many of us for the transgressions of the few. Is it possible for the board to investigate those abusers and let the rest of us, like me and Suzanne, who's my friend, share expenses, share meals, share companionship, share the care of my pets, to live together in peace? My expenses, as you all know, my dues are about $8,000. My property taxes are about $4,500. My homeowner's insurance is about $700. I pay about $13,000 a year just in expenses on a limited income. Suzanne helps me with those bills. So I would like the board to please explain why the board is taking what I consider draconian measures and making us law-abiding residents suffer from a person who's helping me pay my expenses and being a companion for me. Thank you.
Generally, we don't interrupt during it, but what measure are you talking about that we are supposedly taking this draconian measure? Because it is very vague, so could you speak to the measure, please?
Yes.
Or perceived measure?
Yes. I have heard that the board will forbid owners from having someone live in a room in their condominium, that an owner may rent out a complete condo, but they cannot have a person living with them in a room and helping them assist with the paying of the bills.
Okay, so now we understand it, so when it's time for the board to respond, they'll know what they're responding to.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning.
I live at 3328.
Could I have your name again, please?
Suzanne Smith.
Susan, okay, thank you.
I live at 3328 Bahia Blanca East, Unit A, and I help Betsy with expenses. I know that there are many other people living in the third mutual that are helping other owners with financial help in their homes. And what I feel what the board is proposing for the homeowner and the person living in the home. I trust the board will do what is best for everyone concerned in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Jeff Lulo. My matter number is 3410. I'm speaking to a similar issue to this first speaker. I noted that the future agenda item number 17 listed on today's agenda is to adopt a resolution disallowing common area use, which concerns me because we have a request for a variance in order to build a patio enclosure. I've spoken before you before, and I've spoken before the architecture committee. And in fact, last time I spoke before the architecture committee, I offered praise for their hard work because I think they do work hard on these issues, as I believe you all do. Our concern, again, is similar to the first speaker. We would like to enclose our patio. We applied for a variance. We were approved by the architecture committee, and we're up to be considered by this board in April, but we were not on the agenda. We're still not on the agenda. I wrote a letter to the board on April 24th, which I sent to each of you whose email address is online. And in it, I referenced the Davis Sterling law, which I believe is operant in this case. And it appears to me that the board has taken steps to address that law very specifically in resolutions and changes made as recently as March of this year. The property that we live on and the area that we want to expand into is very small. It is isolated. Nobody goes there. It is unused. We have permission from our only neighbor who would view it. And I think that the decision tree that was arranged by the board is an excellent one. I've presented it to friends and they said that seems to address all the concerns. We would like to get moving, get our patio built, but also I think for the community, the ability to make these minor adjustments to the household enhances the community, enhances the livability, and is one of the areas of appeal, as far as I can see, to living here. Obviously, not the only one and not the major one, but it does help. The fact that you can enclose your patio and use it, or make other small modifications that do not impact the community. My hope is that I am misreading this future agenda item number 17, and that it is not the intention of the board to simply disallow common area use. I'm not sure what that would be because the streets are common area, and the Aliso Creek Park is common area, so I assume that's not included, but I'm concerned about what this might mean. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Georgiana Willis, and I'm POA for 2400 2H, owned by Jolly Wong. And
I'm sorry, what's your name again? You said
Georgiana Willis.
Thank
I'm
you.
also a resident here. And so she bought this condo, and when she's out of the country, she has a church in China. So she rents it out, and it helps support her church in China. But one thing here I'm noticing, it says something about entertain a motion to approve lease policy, 30-day notification requirement. Some of our people have applied a year in advance. But one case, we had someone come from Irvine. Something had happened with their home that needed extensive work, so they last minute needed a place. And so my understanding, again, is that it takes 2 to 3 days to process an application. So I was wondering why you're requiring 30 days.
Okay.
Okay.
We will answer that.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Mrs. Hui Liu, Liu. My address is 3071 Via Serena North, number C.
We have an unresolved issue with our neighbor, uh, whose name is Steve DeVoret, and his unit number is number D. We share a common wall in the atrium area. But when we moved in last June, we're new residents, and we like to enclose the atrium. So we look for the contractor. So the contractor advised us to use an architect, engineer to write the plan. And all the plans were approved by the village and the city. So we got a permit. So on March the 27th, we started, the workers started working. That's a Monday morning, I know. And the worker said it will be a lot of noise because he's going to knock down our 3 sides of wall. So we have to let the neighbor notice. So my husband and I went to Steve first, but he was sleeping. He's a late sleeper. He wakes up until like 11 o'clock. So we visited number A, and the lady's name is Pat, and she told us that this Steve won't wake up. So I said, if you see him, we don't know him, if you see him, let him know that we are starting the work. And we visited number B, and we noticed everybody. Actually, so we started the work. In the middle of the day, of course, he woke up, he knocked, rang our doorbell. He wants to see what's going on. So I explained everything. And at that time, the wall was exposed with the crawl space. So he looked at it and think something, but I didn't know what he wants. So in the afternoon, around after lunch, he came back. He said, you know what, I want to put a ceiling fan in my living room. So can my electricians gain access through your crawl space into my crawl space and get the lines? So I was trying to be a good neighbor. I said, let me think about it. Maybe you can do that. But the contractor and my lawyer said, no, because his electrician cannot step into our property. There might be liability. So that's why I told him, I said, I'm very sorry, I cannot do this. I think that's why he's not pleased. Okay. Since then, nothing is great. Everything is terrible. So my workers are working, and then because we have permits and the contract assure us that the common area can be used to build to the ceiling in order for the water from the rain to go from our part into our side of the yard instead of going to the atrium, which is his atrium. So everything's fine until one day, April the 6th, he delivered a letter to my husband in person. He wanted us to hold this project, and he is going to ask what rights he has. And so we have to hold it, and the only thing left to do is to finish his side of the wall above the old common wall. Now it's just it's a hole, it's open, with some kind of support. So he did that, and then we're trying to be, we talked to friends, and they went to, yes.
But you've gone over time. So
Okay.
you just end it right.
Okay.
You
And
don't wanna
my
tell-
friend went to the meeting on the March 16th, and they said maybe money can solve the problem, and we think we can do that. So we sent him a letter. Then he sent back a letter. He said, okay, his value of the house is diminished, so I don't know how much he wants. Now it's impasse. I like to, the board to consider we have permits, we have approval,
Okay.
we have everything.
All right.
And why can we finish it? And that is good for his side also. And we don't
Alright.
want water coming
Okay,
out.
well, when it's time to answer, we will answer, and if we can't give you the answer, we will surely set up a meeting with you. So
Yes, thank you very
please
much.
stay.
What
Thank
is
you
your
for-
name again?
Liu, Mrs. Liu, Liu,
Okay.
3071 Via Serena,
Okay, thank
number
you.
C. Thank you very much.
But don't, make sure you stay here. Don't go away.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, my name is Harrison Chan. I live in 2400 2G. I am now just retired from University of California, and I moved in last December. Before I moved in, we bought a condo unit about 5 years ago because at the time we thought that we might retire earlier. It turned out that we had to delay our retirement until now. At the time, we furniture our apartment in a way that we enjoy, and we didn't really want to. Since we cannot move in, we want to rent it out. We don't want to rent it to long-term tenants because we want to keep our own decoration. So we go for vacation rental, and we let people who are planning to retire and looking for places to retire, and they are interested in spending 2 months, 3 months in the community before deciding to move in. And we know that there's a demand for that. There are also many grandparents there are many people whose grandchildren and children live around here, and they want to come and see what's life here and also visiting their grandchildren. And this is a very nice place for them to stay. So we provide those services. Many of our guests have become resident because they really enjoy the experience. But I heard the upcoming regulation is going to limit the number of renters per year to 3. And I want to voice my strong objection to this regulation. I don't know the reason for that, because our guests, usually they are very wealthy people. They are much more endowed with more than the current tenants, and they are qualified. They are always approved by the board for their qualification to live here. So I want to just to I don't understand the point of limiting to 3 rentals per year, and I want to voice my objection to it. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Leonard Scheitman, 5346 Bahia Blanca West, Unit A. This is another inquiry about common area. On January 30th, I applied for a variance for patio enclosure. The board approved it on March 23, subject to a depth limitation, making it narrower. I feel that the committee compromised and decided on a compromise limit, which was acceptable to me. That was a month and a half ago, I believe. And so I've been reading the proposed resolution on common area use. So I'm not sure how all this affects my application. Again, I applied January 30th. The board approved it, the patio enclosure, March 23, and the committee subsequently recommended approval of a depth limitation that was satisfactory to me as a compromise. And at this point, I'm just sort of waiting to see what the situation is. I can't do anything until I know the board is going to be addressing that issue.
Today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Cashin, Building 3420, Unit 2G, as in goat.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? It was very quiet.
3420 2G,
Thank you.
as in goat. 2 items. One are the new lights that were installed in the breezeway. At our last building meeting, most of the residents have voiced their displeasure because it's too bright. Some of the people use that second room as a bedroom, and it's just like a night light that's in there all night long. So we were wondering if there's a way that you could take out some of the lights that are installed in there, or because each of the lights that were in there were replaced, if some of those can just get removed. And the second item is something that I called about maintenance. Down below, the drainage pipes are getting a sludge on the pipes. They came out. I had taken pictures. They did some of the work. The one that's by my unit in the underground parking lot did not get fixed, and some of what they did fix is coming back. So they were unhappy that it was painted white. We have no control over what's painted, what's not in the building. That's done by, decisions by the board. So I will contact them again, but I don't know what other recourse to do. Thank you.
Barbara, you won't have to contact them again because when you speak, it goes to Brad's ear.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's
They were
probably,
very,
he's
they
gonna
were
run
extremely
out. So
responsive.
usually I don't answer the residents, but when somebody brings up something where work hasn't been done or completed, he's on it in a flash.
Yeah,
So,
and I was warned, that it would take a while, but they did fix a lot of it right up front, but then it stopped.
he'll take, I'm
Okay.
sure he'll take care of it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so, we have another person, okay?
Sally Donnell, 3075A. I'm here about the new rental policy where you're going to bar single homeowners from having a second person in their unit. Is that correct?
No, it is not. So that's why I'm sort of shaking my head, but Berta will address all of that.
Okay. Well, if you are making rental changes that negatively affect homeowners, I'm just wondering if this California Civil Code 4740 will apply. And I own a 3-bedroom place and I'm a single person, and I bought it specifically so that at some point in time I could bring a roommate in. So that's about it. But
We will respond to that today. Okay. So there are thank you all for your comments, and a lot of people will get answers. Before we start, and I'm gonna try to ask the director who is involved in this situation to handle it. I would like to make a correction to the comments made by Lester. When I sign my name on the forms, I ask for all of the information to make sure that my signature is good. I signed my name, and then they were not able to bring forth all of the information. So I did not erase it, as everyone knows is the case. I put a line through it, pending. You could shake your head all you want, the form is upstairs. I put a line through it because I did not get all of the information, so my signature would have to agree that I had all of the information. So I did not erase it because how could I write in pen? So I did not erase it. It has a line through it. So that is the fact and that is the truth. So I'm going to ask the directors who are involved, and I don't know if we can respond to the Lester comment because there's so much legal involved. So Bert, could you please handle that?
Well, this is now a question for our attorney to handle, and she is deeply involved in this case. Let me assure you, I'm sure she's talked to you from her reports, and she's also talking to the other party. This has been going on a long time. We really regret that it reached this stage, but we hope it can be resolved, and I really can't comment beyond that.
One of the things, and I know you're going to be meeting with the attorney today, if she thinks it's advisable or if the residents would like to talk, instead of just going through the attorney, talk to the board with the attorney there, I'm sure that we would be agreeable to that, but I'm sure that it will be worked on today, all right?
We would be very happy to be there.
We have a meeting
Yes.
for the whole board for other issues, But I'm sure that either Bert, it's a closed meeting, either Bert or Sandra will make sure that we get back to you. Okay? Thank you.
Did you say we can be there today?
No, today is a closed meeting, which has to do with a lot of issues, not just with your issue. But I'm sure Bert and Bill will be talking to Sandra. So if she believes it is advisable and that you should get together and talk, I'm sure that we will be able to set that up. Because we are not happy with that you're unhappy, because that isn't our goal. But this is it's so huge. So we will make sure that Bert or Bill will get back to you today. Okay?
I just want to assure you that we have been looking at this problem constantly, endlessly, and talking to our attorney about it. It's probably our top priority.
Okay, next item that was brought up by a resident is are we serious about landscape not using the blower? Yes, we are serious, and we are sure that Brad is going to be more serious because we agreed to this. We voted on it. If they said they don't have enough blowers, then they should get enough blowers. There's no excuse, and not have blowers, the vacuums, thank you. Why would I buy more blowers? That would make you more mad, not more upset. If we didn't have enough vacuums, we were supposed to get the right vacuums. This has been going on way too long, and it's either that the person doesn't have, whatever, but Brad has to take care of this. We're not fooling around. We're not saying, just go and blow his building or don't get the vacuums. We're serious, and it has to be taken care of. I don't know if it's a training issue or anything. And James, who is in charge, wants to make a comment.
Yeah, well, I agree. We are deadly serious about this. However, you remember early on, because of a storm, early this year, we giving them, permission to run, to use this blower once or twice, just to speed up the cleaning. Now, maybe the message wasn't carried clearly enough. Maybe, when was this the last time you noticed they're using blower?
Last Thursday.
All right. Well, that definitely is ignored. So we'll talk to the landscape. Yeah. Thank you very much for your comments.
Did you have something you wanted to say, Brad?
I do, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Regarding the blower.
Yeah, this isn't a landscape issue anymore. This
Well-
has been transferred over to General Services. They've bought a bunch of the vacuums. They're kind of testing them out to see which ones work best, and so I think they're going to make a decision and transition everyone to that. So it's been a little longer process, I know, than you'd prefer, and I do apologize for that, but they're out there with vacuums, all different kinds, and a big vacuum truck too to do carports and subterranean parking as well. Big giant vacuum truck that's got an adjustable hose. So we're trying all that stuff out. I think we can probably do carports many times a year compared to what you're paying now for like 3 times.
So
It's a big improvement.
So have the blowers been retired from that function?
I don't think they've been completely
From that
retired yet,
function.
but yes, they will be. Yes. We
So
need a few more vacuums.
Let us know if we don't get what Brad just described, okay? All right, Brad, we're gonna ask you to answer this one also.
Just periodically check and see.
Oh, all right, okay. Would you be able to give the response on the roofs?
I don't have an exact response there. There is quite a bit of difference in the color. There are some cool roof requirements now as well in terms of replacement. It looked like they replaced maybe a mop roof with a PVC roof is what it looked like to me, and that's a pretty bright color. Whether we can tone that down a little bit and keep in compliance with codes, I'd have to check and get back to the resident, but we have his contact information and I'll do that.
So we will be gotten back to. We will, because dirty eyesores are not a good thing. So he'll take
It's not
care
a
of it.
good look. Clearly, I don't like the look much.
Yes, please. I don't know I'm not sure how to do this, so
Okay.
just,
I just want to say about the white roofs, the reason that color was used It's very simple if you've had any physics or any general science. White reflects all the heat. A dark color absorbs it. If you want to put in a cool roof, you're going to use white or a light shade. Now, as Brad suggested, maybe we can find a more suitable shade, but it would still have to be light, and it will make your house cooler and save you money. So it's not a devious plot at all.
Okay, so we have a number of questions on leasing and I think some misinterpretation of what we were doing. So.
Excuse me, Madam President. Director Walsh would like to speak.
You're going to get to do all of it.
Are you going to call us in order then?
I
Or
was
do we-
just, what I was doing was going down the
All
list.
right,
So that's what
I'll
we
withdraw
usually
my
sort of do.
request.
Yeah, you have, your name is down like 4 to 5 times here, so don't you worry.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
No, don't you worry. It says, this.
If I don't get to it soon, it'll be gone.
Right. So Bill's name is, you have Bill, so you're okay. I was just doing Bert first, and then Bill will be on. Because I also wanted to know if you would mention the lights that the resident commented about when you get to your time. Yes, so all right, so now, Bert, would you be able to respond to all of the questions regarding leasing?
I shall try, Madam President. I think there's some misinterpretation of the lease requirement. First of all, the fact that you cannot rent out an individual room is not a new regulation. What we did with this policy is to update and refine what the policy always has been in that regard. But that doesn't mean you can't have someone live with you. They certainly can as a co-occupant. So you can file for co-occupant status for the other person. You can speak to Pamela Bashline, who is seated in the back row in the corner, hiding. But I'm sure.
There's Pam, okay.
I'm sure that those people who have these issues can speak to her, and we can resolve that by going to a co-occupant status. And so we want to let you relax and not worry about that. I'm sure that your friend will meet the age requirements, and I think you'll be pretty well set. So please speak to her, and we'll go from there. And this includes anybody else who's in that situation. What we don't want is people who are renting out rooms all the time, and that's all they're doing. In fact, some people have units and they just rent out rooms. They never live in the unit. And that's what that's really aimed to restrict. Thank you.
So our leasing policy really didn't really deal with owners, and if an owner has a co-occupant, it really had to do with an owner leasing their unit out, the unit, not rooms, not parts of rooms, not their parking space, but leasing out the unit. That's what's in this program. And to Mr. Harrison, I believe that at our hearing the other day, I said that I believed that we were only allowed to rent them out 3 times a year, or we were trying to get that done. And Bert corrected me and afterwards and said, no, we never agreed to only 3 times a year. So we do have a 60-day minimum. And we are also going to try to work to not have our units allowed to be advertised on Airbnb or other vacation rental sites, because that is not what we want to do. So we had a lot of work to do based on things that came up, but I believe I was mentally hoping that we only would have it 3 times a year, but no, Bert corrected it, so we were going to get back to you. But it is 60 days, And we are we are having actually hearings if people are violating our policy, because by advertising on Airbnb, et cetera, because this is not a vacation rental community. This is a senior community, and we're doing this for security purposes primarily, because people are renting them, they're not filling out the forms. It's pretty messy, right, Bert? So is there anything else that you had to do with leasing? Because then the rest of the meeting is going to have to be turned over to Bill.
The 30-day requirement.
60 days.
No, I'm talking not about residents. It looked like we were
Oh.
requiring the application.
The 30-day notification is just for the residents to be able to review this in the packet. It doesn't, you don't need a 30-day notification to do a lease. That has to do with, it gives the people 30 more days to review what we have. But it doesn't, you go in, you put in your lease, you follow the usual procedures. Pam doesn't say, oh, I have to keep this for 30 days before I process it. That would be a nightmare. No, there's no 30 days. It's usual procedure as quickly as possible based on following the procedures that are set up, okay?
But you could do it on a rush basis.
Yeah, that too, okay? So does that work? All right, so, okay, Bill. William Walsh, it is all yours now.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment to be able to speak on this new microphone. Mr. Lulo and Mr. Scheitman, both of your units are going to be reviewed by our lawyer today in closed session, and we'll have a determination, hopefully after that meeting, on the common area that you're requesting to use. Barbara.
And you will be holding a meeting where you'll be having a consent on them, right? After that, you'll be setting that.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, we will, after we've met with the lawyer and they've made their decisions, we have seven manners that she's going to be discussing with us. And we will call a special board meeting and have those items on that board meeting specifically, either to allow or deny. So that will be a public meeting. There will be a notice. All right.
All of the proper timing, all the proper notification will be handled by Leslie, so we do it totally correctly. But it's like after today, I believe it has to be noticed 3 days, Leslie, is that correct?
I'm sorry for.
If he were to schedule an open meeting
4
today.
days.
4 days, so he probably would have a meeting like
4 days,
next-
not including the day of the meeting.
Right, so it'd probably be early next week that he would be able to have the meeting, like Monday or Tuesday, okay?
Thank you, Rosemary. Barbara, where are you? Barbara? You're talking about the round LED lights they put on all the three-story buildings, right? You can call resident services and tell them that that light is too bright and that you need somebody to put a diffuser coating on the light to cut down on the brightness. And if that's not good enough, let me know or let somebody know that.
Okay, I did email resident services, and they said it was a board-approved matter, and there was nothing they could do about it.
Okay, well, then it sounds like we need to go talk to staff, Brad, about putting, some of those lights are bright. They've really brightened up the three-story buildings, but some of them are causing issues with people. And so we need to figure out a response that we can close down some of the brightness out of those lights for people.
And Bill, that has already been addressed for one or two people.
It has.
Who, and our maintenance and construction department has already addressed it, so,
But the message hasn't gotten to resident services, so
Right.
we need to get that to resident services. When somebody calls like Barbara, they need to know that maintenance can go out there and look at the situation.
Yeah, I would think they would have an event code for light issues and enter a work order and get somebody out there. Pretty common problem when you go to LEDs, they tend to be a little brighter, and
Right.
and so you need to put shields in or turn the volume down a little bit. But there's a lot of solutions out there. We just have to take them individually.
Right. I mean, those lights have been a great boon for people walking up and down the breezeways, at night. But if it's outside your window, I think
So you
I'm
can
sure-
do night reading now at the mutual's expense. See, that's what a benefit. So,
But Barbara, thank you very much for coming to our meeting to let us know. That is exactly what you're supposed to do. I believe you live in a 3-story building, and you always could contact the president of the Garden Villa Association, Lynn Jarrett, because Lynn usually rushes to take care of things. And, but Ernesto is already, who is standing there already, because that's our, working on it. So coming to us is very good, and we will get it done. Thank you.
Is Miss Lou here? Is she still here? Oh, okay. I'll wait till she comes in.
Well, are you gonna meet with her in one-on-one?
No, well, I'm gonna have her try to get together with her neighbor.
Brad's already taking care of it.
Okay,
Okay, great.
right.
Just so people know, that conflict, Mr. Steve Dwart, I don't think I'm saying his name correctly, had come to the Architectural Control and Standards Committee about 2 months ago. And he did say that he would be willing to take some compensation for that area that blocked that construction part that blocked his view. And we encouraged him to get together with the Lous, and apparently that hasn't happened, but hopefully staff can get that worked out.
well, I met with Steve at his manor and viewed the construction and the impacts there, and he did compose a letter and send it to the Lous with a proposal. And so they are, I think, in the process of working that out, and we'll facilitate any way we can.
Thank you. The people should know too that was up until we're going to review everything that gets changed now. That was part of a standard plan, a standard operation. That particular piece of construction has occurred in many other manners in the community over the last 20 or 30 years. And we had never previously asked for neighborhood awareness forms. And now we're going to, on all of those projects, ask for neighborhood awareness forms. So everybody gets a say before somebody starts constructing something that could impinge upon somebody else's manor.
The impact of that alteration is pretty significant. I didn't realize how tall that addition is. Probably a 12-foot ceiling there on something that was maybe 7.5 or 8 feet.
Right, right. And it's lessons learned continually.
Okay.
And I did not catch 2400 2Q. Did anybody have any comments on that? Because I didn't catch what the issue was there.
That was the lady in the back. No, that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
That was Harrison Chulu.
Yes.
And
Iris.
Rosemary addressed it already because he was at our closed meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So, and thank you, Bill. See, you got to.
All right.
So the next item on the agenda is the update for VMS from our illustrious VMS representative for 3rd, Dennis O'Connor.
It's a very fancy digs I'm coming to today. This is the first time for me. Is it the first time for you also? Yeah, I think so, yeah. My job is to inform you what the VMS board is doing. And, you know, it's impossible. And what am I allowed, 3 minutes?
Actually, for you.
4.
Two.
4.
No, no, we're leaving your comments.
Well, there's lots of things happening, obviously, and you know about most of them. The one I'd like to talk about today is employee compensation, because we sort of just came to some kind of closure on that particular issue. I have a special interest in this because my niece was buying a place down in United last year, and her real estate agent was saying that gardeners get paid, or landscape people get paid $80,000 a year. Now, and I had no information really to contradict this, but I knew it was wrong, right? You know, you couldn't run a place like this paying $80,000 for landscape personnel. So with the, at the prodding of this board and I guess other boards, we did a salary survey, which we reported to you early this year. And the salaries were in line with what others are paying. We're not an extravagant payer. We don't underpay either. So we're content with that, and you should be content with it also. When you do a survey like this, the way you do it is you try to find comparable occupations, get data on what they're paying, and so on. So we completed that and reported to you. At that time, I believe it was Rosemary who suggested we look at benefits as well. And that's sort of a more sticky problem because you have to compare it something. You know, are we out of line on our benefits? And that part of the effort came back. The first part was done under contract. I don't remember the name of the contractor. This part was done by staff. So we had to compare ourselves to what other people pay. And we come out quite well, as you might suspect. We certainly were not shocked. What comparisons could we make? We could make comparisons to the national average. You pay considerably less than the national average for small firms, for health benefits. Health benefits is the category studied. We try to compare to comparable employers, but tell you the truth, there are very few comparable employees that are around. There's nobody in Orange County quite like us. There are property management firms, but they're not doing the same thing you're doing. I mean, you just had to be at this meeting to find out the kinds of issues that you get into that other people do not. So we had trouble comparing. We did find one property management firm we have data on, and that firm we pay considerably less than that firm in health benefits. We also compared to other Leisure World communities. We pay about $150 less per month than Walnut Creek Leisure World, and about $50 a month more than Seal Beach Leisure World. I should point out that both of those give Kaiser as the only option. And as you know, we did look at Kaiser when we agreed on a plan for this year, and indeed it was a little bit lower, not materially lower, but you know, maybe $20, $30 a month. I don't remember the details, but I could get that for you. Ask Brad, he knows everything. And in that particular situation, we felt that we shouldn't do that because switching everyone over from their plans into Kaiser would be traumatic. Finally, I want to say that, as Brad can tell you, we are facing a tighter labor market. This is not the time to move us into a less competitive position. I think Brad would tell you that in some areas he's having difficulty in finding people. Am I right, Brad? Yes. And we're concerned about that. Running a place like this is not an easy task. We operate very thinly in some areas, and getting replacements are important to us. But anyhow, that's all I have to say. I could talk about a lot more, but you all know pretty much what's going on. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your service to the community and our board. Okay, the next one on the list, and turn the timer on, is...
Madam President, for how long? A minute? 30 seconds?
A minute. No. is the report from our CEO.
Well,
Brad
thank you.
Hudson.
Thank you, and it is it's great to address the third board and the residents of Third Mutual and to inaugurate for your board this wonderful meeting room, boardroom. As any new thing, particularly where technology is involved, there's bound to be glitches here and there. This morning it seemed to be sound, but I think we've come to grips with that.
I believe that Bert was cut off.
Yes, we had to lose Bert.
Okay.
Bert was part of the problem, not part of the solution, this morning anyway. And so we'll figure that out. But this is, obviously, there's a lot of functionality and efficiency associated with this room. Part of it is in the very near future, residents will be able to watch board meetings anytime, anywhere, whether they're here, whether they're back home in New York. They can watch them live on a smartphone or their desktop. They can also go back a day, a week, a year, 5 years, and watch an archived meeting and pull items up by agenda item. So if you're maybe only interested in one item, no need to watch a replay of the entire meeting. Click on that item on the agenda, the video pops up, you watch the item you're interested in, and move on to your active lifestyle. So that's a great functionality. This pairs with our new website and its transparency functions, as well as the resident portal that will allow you to conduct various transactions with us. So all these things kind of tie together. What residents won't see, and which we're not very good at yet, but we will get good at, is there's a agenda production module that goes with this that allows us to electronically view and approve, correct, amend the agenda prior to it going public. Now, last week, as we were showing off this fancy, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, new software platform, we dumped the United agenda and had to reconstruct. And so you push the wrong button sometimes, things like that happen. So we're learning those lessons, and then in the long run, this will create great efficiencies, better accountability, much more transparency, and so we're very excited about it. In the short run, some things may have to be done twice because we'll make mistakes and lose everything. But we're learning, and it's exciting to bring this sort of technology to the community and to your board. So very exciting. I just want to hit a few things. I don't want to talk too long, as is typical. I did want to talk a little bit, just to mention the El Toro Water District Reclaimed Water Project. We'll be sending a lot of information out about that. Board members are probably well aware, but it's like Gate 9 and Gate 5 areas are the recipients of the latest phase of reclaimed water, and so it's a project that will start sometime in the fall and probably last 8 or 9 months. And so I guess the last time they did this, they were very quiet and very good guests in our community, and then actually left the place a lot better than they found it. And so we hope to get that same kind of outcome now. Ernesto is handling all the right-of-way acquisitions. They will be purchasing right-of-way from Third and United for the construction of these projects, and then providing the reclaimed water to our community, and then repairing the roads in better shape than they found them at the conclusion of the project. So that's pretty exciting. I did want to advise.
Bill, can I interrupt it about this? You said for those recycled water.
Yes.
They need acquire some of the, I guess, easement.
Yes, we
from
sell that
us.
to them, yes.
So how soon can this be done?
Well, Ernesto's doing it right now. We've hired an appraiser, and they're looking at the values from the prior acquisition they did and updating those, and so we'll have a report for you and agreements. Luckily for us, we have a public works director working here, former, and so acquisition of right-of-way. Of course, he was usually on the other end of it, buying, not selling, but I think he knows the process, and so we will get that information to you, and hopefully with your approval, this project can proceed, and the residents of the community can start enjoying these benefits of
But
cheaper
that
water.
won't slow down them.
No.
As far as installation is concerned.
No,
Okay,
No,
great.
we're right in sync with them. We are still doing some fire break work for the fire authority, so you'll see us around. I know we've been usually 9, 10, 11 up in that area generally, working against the open space there to clear some space back to protect our community. So that work continues. And I sent out a couple of e-blasts, but I want to just, I know you guys will talk about it, but the red curb reset, which is removing red curb, is going to happen. And so it's pretty noisy. And so we'll be sending you a lot of notices to let you know what's going on and what you expect in your neighborhood. I'm sure more will come on that. As far as just things happening in Third, we did just about complete the pool solar at 5. It might be done by now. I was over there a few days ago. They were adjusting it. And so we've had a lot of requests from Third residents to dial up the heat a little bit on the pool. I think we're much more willing to do that now that we have a more economic source of energy to do that. So that's exciting. We did a redo of the locker rooms and showers over there, just to kind of update them, put in some efficient shower heads, regrout it a little bit, just make it acceptable. It's not spectacular, it's just acceptable. But it's a big improvement for where it was at. We're getting ready to move the pool tables out of Clubhouse 5, and that room will be converted to additional use. We're contemplating a sort of a multi-purpose flooring in there, so you could do, you know, a jazzercise class, yoga, ballroom dancing. You also could sit down there for a lecture or other things. We want to make it as flexible as possible. So if the Third board has some ideas on that, I'd certainly like to hear them.
You're gonna have to do something with the curtains in there, because there's a lot of that blue chalk on them.
You know, I don't even know why there's curtain. Is there even a window in there?
Oh, yeah, no,
Is
there are a lot of
It's pretty dark in
windows.
there.
There are windows in there, so I don't know, but when we tried to clean it up, there was, however acoustic, you know how it stands, there was like a blue
my.
line. So that isn't a design on the curtains.
So we've got a little redo to do there. Ernesto tells me they're getting near final with SCE on the agreement to buy the street lights and have the Third board take control of that valuable asset for the benefit of our community, save money, better lighting, all those sorts of things. That's great. And in the same vein, they tell me the micro tunneling is complete and that the solar thing is moving ahead, and they anticipate being done before the end of the month. So keep your fingers crossed on that. And then I'll just finish with a little compliance reminder. I think I said an e-blast out last week or the week before on kind of common area violations, particularly pots. I get a lot of calls from residents complaining about their neighbor having pots all over the common area. And I just want to reemphasize, you can't put pots in the common area. Matter of fact, you can only cover your patios and porches at 15%. So we need to be real careful. And if you're encroaching into the common area, don't do that, or you're going to get a letter from us, and it won't be a nice letter. And so let's try to be mindful of that. The same thing applies to planting in the common area. We have a lot of people who like to plant many things in the common area, and unless you're participating in the Yellow Stake program, you can't plant in the common area. And so if you're one of those who likes to do that, please stop. Because we don't want to have to send you a nasty letter and call you in and have a chat with you about that. So, and then lastly, we do have a couple of program areas that have, you know, I guess two different stories. In resident services, about January, we had a flood of people leave, and we kind of set us back a little bit. That's kind of been beefed up now. We've got a pretty good rhythm going in resident services right now. Probably where we had not so good a rhythm was in manor alterations, where we had the similar sort of thing, but the replacements were a little harder to come by. And so we've moved some folks around. I feel pretty comfortable now. Ernesto tells me he's going to go to an appointment system for those more intensive interactions with residents for manor alterations. And so that will happen rather quickly. And so the long stands and being in line for 30 minutes, that's coming to an end. And so my hope is that with appointments and then a modern queuing system in the very near future, residents won't need to stand up at all when they come here. Come in, give us your name, tell us what you need, have a seat. We'll call you when somebody's ready to serve you. So big changes there. I'm pretty excited about it. I know you will be too. Lori tells me also to remind residents, apparently, I don't know who would do this, but residents hire their own tree trimmers if they're not happy with the level of trimming that we've done. And we've got a lot of cases of this where they'll come and actually damage a tree by over trimming it. And so we ask residents, actually more than ask, we almost demand, don't trim our trees. If you think our trees need more than what we've done, give us a call and I'll send somebody out to assess it for you. They're pretty good about that. The supervisors in the field are pretty responsive. And so, yeah, don't trim our trees. And then lastly, just remind you of the 4th of July event, Clubhouse 2. You'll probably have to park at the community center or Clubhouse 7. We're going to have some transit to get you here and there. We're looking at music, barbecue, fireworks, balloons and face painting, things for grandkids. So we're looking to have a big shoe. So I hope you all show up for the 4th of July.
I have a question. Is business as usual on the 3rd of July in here?
Best I can tell. No one's told me any different. We're not shutting the place down. I'll be
Okay.
here. I will be here.
Okay.
Okay. Another question is we've asked our alterations team actually, or committee, to come up with a very mini sort of checklist, like thinking of an alteration, like this is what you have to, this is what you have to do. So making an appointment. So I know that they were going to come up with this brief checklist for the residents, not for staff. Staff has their own list. And then when they came up with it, it was going to go to Ernesto, for example, to review it, and then we would have it, either public online or in our newsletter or something like that to try to make the process easier. So appointments are good. I know that Steve will be able to report on it, but is there any comment that you want to make about the GRF? Look at he's saying, what is she going to
Capital
say
plan?
now? Ah, good, you filled it in. Capital
Yeah, no, I was
planning.
just thinking about that. I was a little negligent not talking about the budget a
Well,
bit.
that's why
And
I brought it
I
up, because
appreciate
I
it.
knew you were
Yeah,
being
I also
negligent.
have a question too on that.
But Steve has a lot of answers too, because he was involved.
Well, I think we're looking at a lot of projects this year. Many of them are more maintenance related, concrete, pavement, clubhouses, a lot of maintenance there. And then probably the big enchilada is the gates. And gate arms at gates 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, there's some complexities there, and then 12, which I was actually going to throw that one away, but everybody got excited about doing it. But that's the most complicated one that we'll probably do here, because it's a complete relocation and a reconfiguration of the road there. There's also some utility relocation. There's a giant eucalyptus tree that has to be moved, so that's going to be a complicated one. We're looking at probably additional changes to transit, and I'm looking to retire at least 6 buses for next year, big diesel buses that are driving around our community empty. I'd like to put an end to empty buses in our time, and I think we can. We're looking at a lot more demand response. And for third in particular, you have really large segments of the community that just don't ride the bus. And so I don't know why we insist on putting those diesel buses through our neighborhoods when I could replace 4 buses with 2 demand response vehicles and take your residents wherever they want to go immediately without following a route. So those are the kinds of things we're looking at. If we can make that kind of a change, again, I'm required to use 10 buses next year because of the federal grant assurances, but I think we could reduce even further and save resources and put some downward pressure on assessments. So a lot of good stuff. A lot of it, I think a lot of good equipment that I think for like your Garden Villa folks, I just had Bruce over here. He tells me the vacuums don't work worth a darn, and so they need to find a better product. If you use just a big old giant shop vac and do it by hand, yeah, you can pick everything up, but the things that go quicker don't work very well. So they're investigating that to get a better piece of equipment. But we're looking at, for example, Clubhouse 5 is a perfect example. For the last 20 years, I think they've had a lady working there who starts mopping at one end of the ballroom with a mop, and then 3 or 4 days later she gets to the end, and then let's start over again. And so there's actually a machine that does that in about 20 minutes. And guess what? We own one, but it's been in storage for 5 years. So we're going to pull that one out. We're going to buy 3 or 4 more, and then we're just going to clean these floors more often and quicker. And guess what? They also work outside. You can do the sidewalks and all that around all these clubhouses as well. So really good equipment, more skilled workers. That's really going to pay dividends for residents, and I'm confident with that. There's also some expenditures for a CRM, and your president asked, if somebody calls up and they want us to do something for them, is there any way to check to see if they're current on their assessments? Well, these are 2 systems that don't talk to each other, and so you'd have to check out of one, check into the other, which makes the interaction longer, which makes resident services slower. So they don't want to do that. So part of the program that we've asked for is a customer relationship management program that automatically just brings up all the data on basically any resident all at once, so you know their complete picture. If they pulled a building permit and it was never closed out, that'll show up. If they owe, a fine or an assessment, that'll show up. If they made a request and we didn't fulfill it, that'll show up. Oh my gosh, we got to get over there. So all those things will be there, and they'll be there on one screen, and they'll be activated by the phone number that actually calls in. So it just pops up automatically. The idea being we need to shorten those interactions with residents, because you call 1.2 million times a year. It takes a room full of people, a couple roomfuls, to answer that many calls. And if you're taking 3 minutes a call instead of 2, then I need 33% more of those folks around. So that's the kind of math that Chris is looking at. Probably a little better math than that. That's actually 50%. But nonetheless, to try to shorten those interactions, serve as many people as quickly as we can in a very accurate way. And I think we're well on the road to doing that. So that's part of the budget as well. So there'll be many more meetings. We'll be sending out notices on virtually every Friday of some budget meeting that's coming up. I know we've got the mutuals coming up. We've got a fee meeting with GRF. That will get people excited. You start talking about fees, and of course everybody thinks golf and RV parking and all those fees that haven't been adjusted for some time, or where a noxious condition has been allowed to ferment because the fees are too low. And I think the RV parking is the best example. You got a lot of stuff, boats and RVs that don't work or that are actually being used for storage. It's just a storage facility. It's not really a working RV because the rent is so low. It's cheaper than taking the thing to the landfill. I mean, they will leave things there rather than dispose of them. And so we've been a little more aggressive. We've worked down the waiting list from about 60 to 30 now, I think. So I think with some more enforcement and a reasonable fee structure, we can encourage folks who aren't really RVers or aren't boaters, they're just storing something there, or who have their kids' thing there that happens to be in their name, to not do that anymore. And so I know the RV club, I can't remember the name of the club now, they're not going to be happy because they've been enjoying a ridiculously low fee there, and we're going to address that. So there's a big fee hearing coming up. I don't have the date on that. We're going to talk about all these things. We're going to talk about golf. We're going to talk about RVs. We're going to talk about clubhouse rentals. We're going to lay it all out there and get some direction and see where it goes. But there are many adjustments that need to be made for a number of reasons. Primarily, it's for utilization. It's not so much money here. It's utilization. If people are using things improperly, if they're not priced the way they should be.
And then the financial burden falls on the whole community.
Yes.
So to speak. Okay, I'm going to try to use this correctly, but I believe I have 3 people who want to speak.
Questions?
And the first one, according to the list, is Steve.
Hi, Brad. Just wondering about the child swimming location on the 4th of July. We talked about that earlier. Has that been determined yet?
Lori? Okay, she's getting that. I think I know, but I'm gonna let, for sure.
Okay, so we'll get back to Steve.
It won't be 2 because that gate's gonna be closed, and so it'll have to be adjusted. That'll probably be blasted out Friday.
Okay, so then the next speaker on the list is James Tung.
Okay, I have one question and one comment. The question is, I did attend the GRF, was a budget meeting, and when I went through all the items, what I'm a little bit concerned, you didn't have an item to look into upgrade the swimming pools, pumps and the heaters, because one night I was in the pool 5, I overheard some residents made comments. They said, "Oh gosh, those guys don't know what they're doing. They constantly shutting off and close the pool for maintenance purposes." And some of the so what my suggestion, maybe look into some of those pumps, heaters, see whether they need upgrade to a better model. Therefore, they don't need, close the pool for maintenance that often. The second is comments is that this problem many to the chalk. I used several times the application of the dwelling life. It works pretty good. 2 out of 2. I signed my guest in, and they were in, and no problem. So thank you for the nice job. Thank you.
I heard that comment about Pool 5, and they're absolutely incorrect. Had nothing to do with any equipment. We get a lot of complaints from residents about swim lanes. Some people hate them, some people love them. And I think we tend to lean more towards the pool lanes. And so we closed 5 to make some adjustments. So there are some people who don't want to swim in the lane, want to accommodate them. So we made some adjustments there. That's what that was about. We do have included in the budget, though, funding for a new boilers and equipment at Clubhouse 2 pool. So that was the big push for this year. And there are others as well that are more in the minor maintenance program. With respect to swimming on the 4th of July, it is 11 to 4, Clubhouse 1, and it will be in the blast on Friday as well. So, and I'll talk about it. I talked to Connie on Thursday.
And what is 11 to 4 Clubhouse 1?
Swimming, 4th of July swimming.
For who?
For grandkids.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I mean, because that was quite a while
Yes.
ago. Maybe people forgot.
Yes, well, not necessarily grandkids, just kids.
No, what happened at Easter was Pool 2 was closed, and a lot of people came up there for their kids to swim. There wasn't even a lifeguard there. So we're trying to get the word out early this time.
I have a question that's out of turn, but it has to do with 2. A person who works at the gate said that if you have a scanner, that you can't go through Clubhouse 2. They don't have scanners, and in order to go through, honestly, in order to go through Clubhouse 2, you have to be called in. Were they making that up?
Sounds right.
It sounds right.
Yeah,
So-
well, yes, well, it's a secure gate at Clubhouse 2.
Well, it is a secure gate, but somebody, you might have a guest staying here, and they can get into your gate, or you could put them in to get through to multiple gates, and then they get to Clubhouse 2 and they can't get in because they don't have a scanner. So that means if you want, say your grandchild is visiting and you expect them they can go swim at Clubhouse 2 and they're old enough to drive, because remember how old we are, they have to be called in. And is that?
Well, they have to be with the resident.
They have to be with the resident.
They must be with the
Okay, so
resident.
if the resident is in their car, they have to have their ID.
Either ID or, at gate 2 would be an ID.
Well, and, okay.
Or excuse me, 12. Yes.
All right, so you have to be called in or have your ID or something. So your little thing in the car isn't sufficient.
No, the RFID does not work at any other gate. It only works at 5 and 6.
No,
So-
I don't mean the RFID, I mean you get a pass that you could scan. They can't scan it into that gate because there's no scanner.
I think I can address that. The guests are not allowed to go to these, to the common areas like the pools unattended. The resident has to be there. If we gave the resident the ability for them to scan the pass, then you'd have, guests going in and out of that gate without the residents being there. That's why that's done that way.
But is it done that way at all gates or just that gate?
Just that gate.
Well, then somebody can get into 5.
Oh, yeah, they could, yes. Well, we're trying to prevent people from getting into the village greens and going to the restaurant. And
Oh,
that
okay,
kind of- yeah.
all right, well,
Yeah.
I just didn't know
We can always
that.
add a scanner out there if you like.
No, I just was surprised. I said, oh, that doesn't make sense, but if it makes sense and that's how you do this, it's just good to know.
You must be with a member there. Obviously, when you're calling in guests to visit, they're not with a member, they're coming through the mutual gates essentially. So-
Right, okay, well, does that make sense? All right, so the next person on the list, because he didn't speak enough, is Bill Walsh. Yes, Bill?
Well, thank you. The system works. Brad, the third MNC meeting is until a week from Thursday, and something occurred to me that I haven't talked about. Has anybody started that Shepherd Hook?
Yes.
On top of the fences?
Yeah, I think in the gate 11 area.
Gate 11?
Yeah.
Good, okay.
We had some breaches there and some removed and added fencing. Yeah.
All
I
right.
think it's really a security issue there.
Great, good, thank you. And I have one other question, it's GRF thing, really. GRF allocated some money to buy a new antenna. Could you explain to folks what that's all about?
Yeah, that's an existing project. It's a new satellite antenna for our cable system. The antenna we have is well beyond its lifespan, over 20 years old. And so we are replacing it with a new one, along with a lot of other technology as well, both at the head-end building, and then there's also the start of a repair program for all of our nodes and vaults and boxes. There are literally thousands of these out there, and they're all rusted and ill-maintained. And so if you wonder why your cable reception isn't quite what you think it should be, well, you start with a 20-year-old dish, old equipment in the head end, vaults that are 40 years old that are filled with water and old wires. That's why. And so we're repairing and replacing all of that. It will probably take, Chuck, we think 5-10 years to fix, because you have thousands of boxes. The vaults and the nodes, there's much fewer of them. We can probably fix them right away. But the actual boxes which serve buildings are in horrible condition and really have to be updated as well. When we get a complaint from a resident about bad cable service and we go out, that's the first thing we look at is the box, and then we'll go and make that repair right then. But we need a systematic program to go through the whole village and fix all that stuff.
Okay, thank you very much, Brad. So we are now up to number 11 on our agenda, which is the consent calendar. Do I have a motion? And do we have a second?
We have Director Parsons' motion and Director Walsh second, and I'm recording the motion.
Okay, so then we would need for you, is there any, I'm trying to do this correctly. Is there any discussion? No? Okay, so then we are ready to vote.
Okay. Voting has commenced.
Did you vote?
And everyone has voted. So I will record the vote and we will see it.
Okay, the motion has passed. Because I have abstained and Brad is not allowed to vote. I don't know why his name is on there. Take that off. Okay, so in any case, the motion has passed, or everything on the consent calendar has passed. So now we're going to move to number 12 on the agenda, which is unfinished business. And at this point, excuse me, I was going to say I would turn this over to Bert. Bill or Bert, who?
Bill's going to handle.
Bill is going to handle 12A.
And in fact, I've got a note.
Is your mic on?
It is now.
Okay, good.
I got a note here from Bert Moldow regarding 12B also, so I will go ahead and start with 12A. Basically, when the Architectural Control and Standards Committee went out and looked at this manor, the modification was on the original footprint of the manor. The only thing that came into play there was that we had talked about asking for more neighborhood awareness forms. And since that is such a long process, I decided that this would be best just to put it on here because there's nothing otherwise that would prevent us from okaying the change. And if the board approves that, we'll put this item on the open board meeting that we call next week to talk about the other variances. So those are my comments. Anybody else have any comments, I guess?
Yeah, is there any reason to suspect that the neighbors would object?
There's always reason to suspect, but we can deal with that too. I mean, staff hopefully will get those back. Even if they don't get it back by, I'm hoping they can speed the process up and get it back by the board meeting. Hopefully they come back in. I wouldn't recommend that we put this on the consent calendar if we don't get the neighborhood awareness forms in time.
So in technicality, we're supposed to have a motion, so you can have a motion that defers this until our next whatever. So, because you can either have a motion to deny, approve, or defer.
Okay. I'll make a motion to defer
Until
the next board meeting.
that long? Oh, no, because we could
Going to have a
have.
special
All right,
board
so,
meeting.
and just until our next board meeting, which doesn't mean to say it's the meeting in the month of July.
That's
It's
right. It
our
could be
next
hopefully
noti-
it's next week.
Our next noticed board meeting.
Is that
Okay.
for both A and B?
No, that's just for A.
Oh, just
Okay,
Okay?
so
Okay,
we
so-
have a motion.
We don't, I need you to do your motion.
The motion is.
I need you to click it on your screen to
motion.
create a
Okay.
motion. Okay, so Bill has moved and
I would
Director
make-
Parsons has seconded.
I make a motion that
Well,
item
it's good.
12.
She wrote it down.
Okay.
So you made a motion that item 12 is deferred
Okay, and we need
until,
someone to second it.
and Parsons seconded it already.
Okay.
So then we need a vote.
Discussion.
A
or vote.
discussion. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, it's to the next open board meeting,
Right,
correct?
correct. Okay, so all those, so it's now commence your voting. I have to learn that.
Voting is commenced. Okay, and I'm going to record the vote. Oh, Director Tom, you have not voted yet.
Which is 3 times.
Maybe you have no pulse. Oh, but it went, I saw the
Okay,
little hand.
so I'm going to record the vote.
Okay.
On item
So-
12B, I'd like to make a
So,
motion.
so 12A, the motion passed.
Okay, excuse me.
Excuse me, on 12B, actually,
We should make the motion.
all right, make a motion.
I make a motion.
But we're only making a motion.
At the behest of Director Moldow, that we remove item 12B from the agenda.
Okay.
So we're removing all landscape recommendations?
No, B is the resolution having to do with common area.
Okay.
So do we have a second? Okay, the motion has failed for lack of second. So 12B has not been removed from the agenda. So now I'm going to turn that over to Bert Baum.
Thank you. This is probably set the world's record for the longest resolution. So I don't want to read it all because we'd have to feed you dinner after I finish. So let me summarize the most important parts. First, we're reporting today a decision taken on May 17th, 2017, and why we did this. The governing documents say, as per statute, that common land cannot be given away without the approval of 67% of the owners. Only an area identified on the original manor plan may be used by the residents for alterations of his or her manor. And I'd like to read just a couple of important sections of this resolution. Whereas the board has been advised by legal counsel that the California Civil Code generally prohibits the board from approving the transfer of the use of any portion of the common area as defined in the CCNR's common area to an individual manor owner without first obtaining prior written approval of at least 67% of manor owners in that manor's original condominium projects, mutual homeowner association, unless the grant of such exclusive use falls within one of the statutory exceptions eliminating the requirement for such approval vote. And whereas one of the mutual's governing documents is the condominium plan, which shows a detailed three-dimensional diagram of each of the manors in the mutual, including the manor's separate interest and any appurtenant exclusive limited use common area, as well as the manor building's detailed footprint on the ground, which also shows the surrounding land that is designated as common area. The board has been advised by legal counsel that California state law prohibits the board from amending that condominium plan without first obtaining the prior written approval of 100% of all the manor owners and mortgage holders in that manor's original project mutual homeowners association. And now, let me read.
More?
I'm sorry?
You're reading more?
Yeah, I'm going to throw a couple of more in just to make everybody happy. Be it resolved further that the board, within the limits of its current authority, hereby grandfathers any existing alteration to any of the manors located within the original condominium projects or the area immediately adjacent to that manor, which have been previously approved by this board or prior board of directors of the mutual and constructed prior to the effective date of the resolution, June 20th, 2017, even though that alteration may encroach upon some portion of the general common area, provided that there is no threat to the safety of persons or property, the alteration met the mutual's construction and architectural standards in effect at the time of the alteration, and there is no direction or order of a court requiring the board to take contrary action. Be it resolved further that the mutual board resolutions are hereby superseded and canceled, and resolution 0214 dated March 19, 2002, and Resolution 0315155 dated October 20th, 2015, and be it resolved further that VMSI officers and employees charged with the responsibility of receiving, evaluating, approving, or making recommendations for the approval of manor alteration applications and overseeing construction of additions, modifications, improvements, and such other alterations to the manors within the mutual are hereby authorized to take all appropriate actions consistent with the resolution and to carry out the purpose, intent of this resolution and ensure compliance with its terms.
Okay, so although this has been voted on, we do have to have a motion to adopt this resolution because it is done to ratify our vote in open session.
I move.
So we have an I move, which means he's made you made the motion, correct?
Yes.
We need. And we need a second. Did somebody second it in the thing
Yes,
here?
Director Solis.
Okay, so is there any discussion? The first person who's able to speak is the motion maker, followed by the seconder. Okay, any discussion? No? Okay, commence voting.
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a request to speak.
How
come that's not showing up?
Because it just showed up on my screen.
So we got a slow computer. We gotta talk.
Or you have a slow computer user.
Or a fast director.
Or a fast director and a slow director. So, okay, please speak.
I do have a question here. Now, this has got 30 days of comment period. During that 30 days, can comments be made in writing to change the content of this resolution?
Well, they could be made, comments can be made, yes.
Okay.
I mean,
And
they
so-
could be made and then they could be discussed or whatever. So 30,
Right.
that's why you have 30 days.
That's right. And so when we come up, never gone through this before. So at the end of 30 days, if there's no changes, then it'll take effect. But if there are people who have comments or want to add to this, or want to see changes in this resolution, they need to come before the board, or if they're board members, they can submit those.
Well, I think that remember, this has already been voted on.
Right.
So I think that, and if a board member wants to argue something that's been voted on, that's something else. Because that's our part of our standards are once something is voted on, we work with it. But if there are comments from the community and or further comments from the board, we could always sit and review them with legal counsel. But we are basically following the advice of legal counsel and also following the business practices of the board, which means if you're given expert advice and you do not follow it, you're putting the board at risk.
Fully
So,
understood.
yeah,
But
so-
if somebody wants to wordsmith this, or they want to, change wording in this,
They could, I think putting them in writing is probably a
Right.
good idea.
what does that affect? How does that affect the 30-day period? In other
Well,
words,
if we
when-
get them in within 30 days, and there were a lot, and we aren't able to get them done with the attorney, we could always go to the next board meeting and say, and Bert really handles this and works with the attorney, we have a multitude of comments, recommendations, and suggestions, so we want to extend the 30 days.
Okay.
Just like we, and
Yeah,
then we
okay.
would say, okay, is it okay to extend the 30 days? And you'd have to agree on it, and we couldn't extend it forever.
Well, no.
Meanwhile, we have voted on this and we've agreed on this, so that requests, I know that you are reviewing some of the requests because they came in while all this was going on.
That's correct.
So, and you're handling that. I know that
Okay.
that's done. So any requests that come in we're not accepting any request for common area. That is what we voted on. But people, again, could request things Because they can get approval, if they get approval of 60%, 67% of the community that is their community, so to speak.
Right, and people need to know that Third Mutual is made up of 59
Different.
previous mutuals.
Right.
That they combined it back in 1988. And so when we're talking about 67% of their neighborhood, it's that old mutual definition. So you're part of Third Mutual, but you could have been previously part of Mutual 27.
Right.
And so it's 67% basically of your neighbors.
Because it might,
So-
your mutual might be 200 people.
That's
you
right.
know, or it might be 500 people, so all of that, but staff, it is there to work with you on that.
Right.
So if somebody wants to say, well, I really want to, this is so important to me, I want to get a vote of the community, they don't have to get a vote of 6,000, blah, blah, blah units.
Right, manners,
It's their local community, and we would totally be happy to work with them so that they might be able to get what they want, and we would be staying within the law and our business practices, so.
And we have that map. If anybody's interested, they could call us.
Yeah,
So the good news for this is that it's more than 30 days this time because of the timing, so it's going to go to the August meeting. Oh,
No, it is not, because it just says 30 days. It says it very clearly, 30
What's-
days.
Right, but what's the date of the next July meeting? We've run into this before.
But the thing is it could be at the July meeting, but you might be calling an open board meeting for something else.
Correct.
Within 30 days.
Correct.
But we
I
would
think that's
have
what
to
she was saying.
Yeah, we would have to
Right, right.
notify people.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it all has to be done totally transparent.
I had no question.
Okay, wait, I'm looking at my thing. Oh, there it is, there's your name.
Okay. I just want to say that we might want to make changes, but we're going to request or require that our lawyer approve any changes.
Right. So, for now, can we agree that the changes go to Bert because he works with the lawyer, or will you want them to go to you?
I think they should come to the architectural committee.
And,
We're going to meet
Okay.
before the next board meeting, so we can talk about it, because people might want to do some wordsmithing and suggest it to the lawyer.
and then it would go to Bert.
And then
Then
to
it would
Bert.
go to Bert, and Bert would
Okay.
handle it with the attorney.
All right.
Because there already, if you look at the last page, page 6 of 6, paragraph 2, section 5, that has to be corrected. If you're looking for corrections.
Yeah.
Got
we-
it? I
I've
noticed
got
that.
enough, there are enough eyes on this that there will be.
Right, okay.
many.
All right, so that's the plan. And now, and we voted and it's done. We didn't vote.
I didn't vote.
No, we did
Okay,
not. We
because
need to
people,
commence
all right, so
voting.
can we commence voting now?
Absolutely.
what is the motion?
Could you repeat the motion? Because it's been, oh, here it is. It's written right there. 12B.
Hold it, just a second.
Oh, wait.
Rosemary?
I'm sorry.
Steve?
We haven't, well, you know, some people are still speaking without looking at the screen,
Yeah, I know.
so.
What about if people get 67% of their original homeowners to agree with them, but the standards do not comply with Third Mutual standards? How's that handled?
Well, I would believe that what they would be having to get the vote on is something that we would approve. The only thing that they would be getting the vote on is using any bit of the area, you know. So they can't be, you know, putting a carousel in their backyard and then everybody's going to vote for it because they could ride on it. I mean, you know, it has to be within our standards. That's what I would believe. Okay, is there I don't see anybody else's name on here. All right, so now can we commence voting? And there is you have the resolution. Okay.
Director Frankel, did you vote?
It has to show a little thing.
Okay, I have his vote, so I'm going to record now.
Okay, we have A motion has passed. The motion has passed with 8 yeses and 1 abstain. All right. Oh, yes, 1 abstain. Okay. So the next item on our agenda is to entertain a motion to approve the amended, notice I said the word amended drone policy. And Bert, could you handle that, please?
Yes, I can. Whereas the Security and Community Access Committee recommended adoption of a drone policy to fairly and reasonably address small unmanned aircraft systems known as drones in Laguna Woods Village, and whereas drones are regulated by the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, and whereas the Golden Rain Foundation prohibits drones in the village unless they are flown by staff or an individual commissioned by staff, and that staff, in order to meet the standards of any policy and federal law, be required to complete a flight plan that is submitted for review by the Chief of Security, and whereas a drone is not allowed to operate unless a permit is granted by the Chief of Security or his designee for approved community events or purposes. Now, therefore be it resolved, August 15th, 2017, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the drone policy as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further that the offices and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. I so move.
Okay, do we have a second? Is it, are you, is it, you have, Bill has, Bert, you have to hit the motion button, did you?
It says withdraw motion.
All right, so he did. So then you could second it? I'll second it. Okay, we seem to have a challenge here. Susie wants to second it.
Didn't it turn green?
So who are we having second? Because I have Director Parsons.
Oh, that's, is that okay with you, Susie? Okay, as long as it's seconded. Okay, so we have a motion, we have it seconded. And is there any discussion? Can we commence voting?
Yes, we can. That was extremely quick. All right, so we're recording the vote.
Okay, so the motion passes. So again, clearly, this is only drones used by security for security purposes or for anything else that they deem is appropriate for the community. So no personal drones. And we heard from the residents on this, so that's why we changed it. So, all right, the next item on the list is new business number 13A. Bert Baum, please.
Thank you. This is our election schedule, and it's listed on as agenda item 13A, page 2 of 2. I think the only change that was needed was in the third from the bottom column. Rather than say mail notice of organization, meeting, and agenda, we would be post notice of organization, meeting, and agenda.
So it is your motion, you were making a
To
motion.
change.
So you're going to make a motion to approve this corrected form.
Yes, I make a
that-
motion. I move to adopt this corrected form for the election schedule for 2017.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yes, Director Walsh.
Okay. And is there any discussion? Mr. Baum is first.
Well, I think what's important on this is not so much the schedule, but we want people to be aware that this election is coming up. And the nominations for this board closes August 16th. We encourage everyone who wants to run to have their application in by that time. They can pick it up on the second floor of this building, and they will be given a booklet explaining, or information sheets explaining what they have to do. And I think that's it.
So we have a motion and we have a second. And what if I read motion in progress, to change the election?
Yeah, the problem is that I'm clicking on so many things that I'm
All
only
right.
able to
So
get a
we're
little bit of
entertaining a
it.
motion to approve this form with that slight
With-
edit.
Right, with the
Okay.
edit of posting instead of
And we have it
mailing.
seconded, so are we ready to vote? All right, please commence voting.
I don't know.
Okay, so,
All right, we have everybody voted, so I'm recording the vote.
okay, so everyone voted to pass the motion, and this will hopefully, so this is passed, hopefully by our next meeting, we will be able to have the dates for the, meet the candidates and all those other things. Hopefully that'll all be filled in. And the thing, just one question, and then we should move on to the next thing. If somebody wanted to apply today, could they? And they would go up to the executive office and they would see Catherine Laster.
They would see me, all the applications are in our area.
Oh, okay. So they would see you. They would go to see Leslie or Corinne, and they would get an application to fill out. So they could do that immediately
Correct.
if they wanted to.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. All right, so we're moving over to the next section of the agenda, which is 14 committee reports. So let's start.
Okay, first slide, please. Finance Committee. Total revenue for third through April 30th, 2017 was 11.1 million compared to expenses of 8.2 million, resulting in more revenue than expenses by 2.8 million. Slide 2, please. Now we look at those same results with the distinction between operating and funds. This chart shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with 6.1 million coming in from assessments and 354,000 coming in from other sources, such as the resident violations and insurance reimbursement. This is compared to operating expenditures of 6.1 million. After backing out depreciation, which is not funded through operations, we can see that bottom line, we had an operating surplus, $397,000 as of this reporting period. Slide 3, please.
Can we get the slides on?
Yeah.
This chart shows how much of our revenue went into our reserve funds and the amount expended to date. Give you a chance to look at this. Okay, slide 4, please. With a favorable bottom line of $2.8 million compared to a budget of $1.1 million, third was better than budget by $1.7 million, primarily due to the following reasons. First one, timing of reserve expenditures, primarily outside services for building structures, roof, and waste lines. I might say that some of these things are going to be caught up before the end of the year, however. Item 2, building structure work was delayed in first quarter due to contractual review. Roofing is budgeted through 2017, but will start in the third quarter, or Q3. Also, a wasteline vendor was selected in March, and replacement work is now in progress. Slide 5, please. On this pie chart, we show the operating expenses to date of $6.1 million by category, showing that our latest categories of expenses are for compensation and utilities. This fluctuates just a little bit from month to month. Slide 6, please. The reserve balances on April 30th, 2017 were just over $26.7 million. To date, contributions to reserve, including assessments and interest earnings, total close to $4.6 million, while expenditures to date total almost $2.1 million. And you can remove the slide, please. Just to bring you up to date on our review of delinquencies and unpaid assessments, the total is $378,911, which represents about 1.1% of the annual assessment budget. We are able to maintain such a relatively low level of delinquencies by following prescribed collection policies through our lawyer and legal counsel to pursue payment on these accounts, even though either through non-judicial foreclosure process or by obtaining personal judgments in small claims court. Okay, moving on to the resale report. I'll just recap it quickly here. Through May, and this is just Third Mutual, we have 197 resales compared to 198 last year. We're down 1 at this point in time. Sales volumes, this is a monthly average so far this year, 15,318,000 compared to last year, 13,660,000. So we're up 12.1%. Monthly resale prices so far this year, the average is $385,000 compared to $346,000 last year. We're up 11.4%. Moving on to leasing report. Through May of this year, we had 1,653 leases compared to last year, 1,662, so we're 9 less than last year. And right now, we're sitting at 27% leasing out of the 1,602 units in Third Mutual. It's a separate report. Here, I'll submit it to the secretary for recording.
Yeah, could you make sure that Betty has that in the packet, though? I mean,
Thank you.
okay, so you have done your financial report, but there's a motion.
Okay, I so move.
Well, you didn't even read it. So maybe, do you want, you have to make the do you want Bert to read it, or you just?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Whereas in accordance with California Civil Code, a common interest development shall not retain significant operating surplus, funds that are not needed to defray current operating costs, and whereas the Third Laguna Hills Mutual balance sheet as of December 31st, 2016 reflected an operating surplus from prior years just over $408,845 without depreciation, and the board desires to return this amount to the members by way of a transfer to a contingency fund. Now, therefore be it resolved, June 20th, 2017, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorizes the transfer of $408,845 from accumulated operating surplus to the unappropriated expenditures fund, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move.
We have a second. Is there any discussion?
I'm sorry, Director Baum, did you hit M?
I
the
did
motion?
hit motion.
Okay.
I'm hitting it again.
All right, give me just a moment because I'm going to have to type them in because they did not. And then Director Parsons seconded.
Okay.
Thank
And-
you.
We have a speaker, Mr. James Tung.
I was just questioning why in the contingent fund? Why not be in the reserves? What would be the difference?
The reason for that is if you look under the business plan for this year, we only have 805,000 to move around as we see fit or other requirements come in, which there have been some requirements that have come in. Putting it in here allows us flexibility to go against any project that we deem appropriate. And we are looking at a low contingency for this year. And we're looking at a lot of business picking up between now and the end of the year.
So, okay, so I guess James Tung hit the button twice.
No, I hit it.
You hit James's button?
No, I hit my button.
Well, but I have on my speaker list, I have
It's-
James twice, so.
That's
he's
my
very-
issue because it's not
I
coming
thought
up
he
on
was
my
very
screen.
excited about speaking. Okay, so our next speaker is Bert Baum.
Isn't the contingency fund a reserve fund?
Yes, it is, but we have flexibility in there.
Yeah.
It's not
but I'm
dictated by
saying
state
it's
law
not
that
an
once in you can't
operating-
move.
Yeah.
Okay, I could press the button, because basically, the reason why we put it in the contingency fund is if for some strange reason, our operations went way over this year, we could actually switch it back from contingency. So contingency is a reserve fund with great flexibility, is that correct?
Right, and we can put it into other restricted accounts as well.
Correct.
If we want.
And that was an excellent question, James, because I was going to ask Steve to explain that to the community, because it's like, so what does that mean? So that's great. All right, so now can
Thank
we
you.
commence voting?
You need to make a motion.
The motion's made, it was seconded, and we already had discussion. So, voting.
Okay, everybody has voted.
Okay. All right, the motion has passed. So therefore, it will be handled by accounting. Okay, so now we have finished the Finance Committee, so now we're going to go to B, report on the Architecture Committee, and that is going to be reported on by William Walsh. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. The committee has spent, as the issues about common area have come to the fore with this board, the Architectural Committee has spent numerous hours getting documents ready for our legal counsel to review, and I'll use the word bless, okay? We've had great help from a couple of advisors on the committee. Mike Butler and Roger Morris have both been invaluable in helping us craft these documents. Those documents are the decision tree, they're the neighborhood awareness form revision, and they are the common area policy. And I want to thank them very much. The board has worked very hard. And I also want to thank staff, because when that documentation is prepared to get out to our lawyer, and then it comes back with revision marks, they've got to clean it up and get it into a form that's usable. So it's been a group effort, and we really want to thank everybody for doing that. And so to report on the Architectural Control and Standards Committee, the only other thing that we do is we look at requests for variation, for variances, and we take bus tours and go out and look on site what the requests are affecting, what areas are affecting. And I want to thank the board members who have been attending those. A number of those requests in the last board meeting from residents are going to be discussed in our closed meeting this afternoon with our lawyer to see if those residents can go forth or not, and do the changes that they would like, that they requested to make. The only other thing I want to report on the committee is that we have introduced the idea of prior to paint, if the painting crews go through and find out that these trellises that are associated with the buildings have a lot of dry rot, we are going to give the residents the option of having the trellis removed. And we didn't get to a resolution on that, and we have sent that issue over to the Maintenance and Construction Committee, which is going to meet next Thursday, the 29th. And it's not next Thursday.
As at 1 o'clock?
I think you're right. I don't remember I didn't bring my calendar with me. I think it is. It's in the afternoon because we have something in the morning. So anybody that's interested in that particular subject, please come and put your thoughts in. And that's my report on the Architectural Control and Standards Committee.
So there are three things. The decision tree that you mentioned and the neighborhood awareness method, I won't call it a
Yes,
form,
right.
method,
Right.
are just about completed, but they do not need a motion because those are operational.
Correct.
So you're going to finish those up, and then we're going to post them online, and there'll be information about them in the newsletter and where people could find them, correct? Is that correct? Okay.
That's what I assume.
All right, well,
And they're not going to Sandra?
well, they already
They
have.
already went to,
They have.
So then why do they need to be?
Because there was some little edits on it, so I
Right.
don't think they have to be
Right.
changed, but that's where we were. And then
Right.
one thing that has to do with architecture is, please, this is for the residents. If a contractor is out working on your unit, they are not allowed to park in visitor parking. There's street parking, and we are constantly having problems with certain contractors who come in and have 2 or 3 vehicles, and they park them day after day after day, even though we send security out in the little visitor parking spaces. So we are working with Tim to find out a better way to identify these vehicles. We're trying to work with compliance, but I just think it's so, it's very rude and very inappropriate when some of these contractors are advised. And I've even had a situation where the building captain has asked them to move and they say no. So this is really bad. So we're trying to work on that. I know Tim is trying to work on it because and they spill paint in the driveway. It's just, some of them are terrible, and I'm sure there's much worse than what I see. Okay, thank you very much, Bill.
I don't want to say one more thing since you brought that particular no-no up. We have situations where residents in 3-story buildings or even 2-story buildings have contractors that they want to do things that would require them getting on the roof. And we have implemented, not on all buildings yet, but we're going to be doing that apparently per OSHA, putting fall protection systems. And so if anyone in this community is living in one of those style buildings and they want something done on the roof, they're going to have to get together with staff and make sure that staff is there when they get on the roof and that they tie in to the fall protection system before they do any work. And that isn't necessarily universally, some issues have come up that we're going to have to address that issue. So just to let people know, if you're having somebody do something on a roof, particularly a roof that's very high off the ground, they need to be tying into a fall protection system.
And if a contractor breaks all the rules, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the resident's responsibility. So the resident will be called into a hearing and they will be fined and they'll be disciplined. That's correct, right, Bill?
Well, I'm assuming that's the route that it will take. We're going to be discussing some of that this afternoon.
Yes. Okay. All right. So now number C is the report on the Maintenance and Construction Committee. And because Bert Moldow is still out ill, that will be reported on by William Walsh. She just wants to talk all day today.
Yeah, I guess. Starting to get hoarse here.
I have a cough drop.
We did not have an M&C meeting prior to this meeting, but I want to mention a couple of things that are going to be talked about on the June 29th meeting. As mentioned before, we're going to be talking about trellis removal. We're going to talk about the streetlight acquisition. We're going to be talking about manufacturing of address signs for LH21 buildings. There's 28 LH21 buildings. We had a little test over at the 40, what was it, the 40?
4015.
The 4015 building, and with some larger signs and some signs that were, well, they were just larger signs, but we're talking to a manufacturer that can put a light in the back of one of these, and we're going to talk about the cost of that and getting that moving. It was pretty impressive. If any of you got a chance to go over and see it when they put those signs on, you could really see the address. I mean, these signs were like, 2.5 feet by a foot high, and they didn't look bad. I mean, they looked, they didn't make the place look too garish, and you could really see the address. So they were really good.
So the sign wasn't only big, the numbers were big too.
And the numbers were big,
Like,
yes,
we didn't
excuse
have a
me.
big sign,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
never know.
you got this
We had a
giant
big
sign with
sign
tiny
with the
bit- yeah,
same
right,
little
right,
numbers
right,
on it.
right.
So it's all in proportion,
If you
right?
take your binoculars, you can, right.
So
Okay.
it's
On the
in
numbers.
proportion, it was tested, and it was well received.
Oh, thank-
Although the residents wanted to know why we were changing the building number. Even though we told them,
It was a-
even though we
was a-
told them it was a test, they were asking me what they had to now change their checkbook. And I was like,
Well, that's why I had to ask you what building it was.
Right. So I almost had to move, but it was well received. The residents, after they got over the fact that their address wasn't being changed, they liked the sign.
So,
And staff sent a note out to everybody too, but they,
What did you like?
yeah, I thought it was very good. It was such an improvement. And then if staff gets past this, they're going to go, the problem is everywhere, but it's worse on the large buildings because you have these large buildings with these little teeny signs that are all over. So then they're going to go over. So the LH21s were easiest in the sense of where they could put it, but then they're going to go over to the other buildings and make an evaluation and decide what to do. Is that
that's right. They're going to walk the buildings and see where the most appropriate, the most effective placement for a sign
But
is.
we've been
So,
talking about this for years. Actually,
Yeah.
this board has been talking about it for 4 years. So
Yeah.
we're like excited.
Yeah.
Please
it's-
getting. it
It'll be a
done.
good thing. It'll
Yeah,
be a very good
good
thing.
thing.
And the only other two things on the maintenance and construction for the next meeting, which is the 29th, we're going to talk about replacement of residential style dryers in the laundry rooms with commercial coin-operated dryers. And we're going to talk about what the cost would that be and talk about the benefits and the negatives of doing that. And also an issue about accelerating the replacement of old heat pumps in the Garden Villa rec rooms. There's a lot of aged, at the rate we're changing them, there's a lot of aged heat pumps in there that we could probably do with accelerating it. And I don't know what the costs are on that, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, actually, we reviewed that. I think we reviewed it at the
Energy Committee.
Energy Committee, and then it
Right.
was supposed to be budget items. That was it. And also, you signed the purchase order to go ahead, not the purchase order, I'm sorry, we used that term in my former life, the contract to go ahead and start working on removal of the grassy areas and certain buildings, and you have the list of all those buildings, don't you?
Right.
Lynn.
You're talking about the carpeting, the
Yeah,
green
I
carpeting.
call it the grassy
Right.
areas. I don't know.
The
why I
artificial
can't.
turf in front of the.
That.
Right.
So so we're advising
Thank
the
you.
community when that starts, et cetera?
I would hope so. That's, they're going to put concrete in there. They're
Right.
going to need some, right?
And then also one more item for M&C was the electric vehicle item.
Right, we'll probably,
Amendment to the ordinance.
we'll
or to
we'll
the
probably
policy.
be working on that even in the background because it's still got to be cleaned up.
Okay, so thank you. And now it is time thank you very much for doing all of those reports. I don't think you have any more to do for that section. So, James, report of the Landscape Committee.
Yes, I'll be glad to do so.
Good.
Well, landscape department is doing a lot of things. One thing I want to explain to the resident that there's a couple projects. One, yeah, you remember the storm. So landscape staff have to spend a lot of time to clean them up. And also, the second important part is landscape have to spend time, a lot of time. They're close to finish is the so-called Orange County Fire Authority zone. They call that the Amber Zone. Those zones are along our west edge of our community, but they're outside edge. So what their work is you don't see it. So that's why I want to show you some slides, how much they do. So could I have first slides?
Shouldn't we finish it?
Go ahead.
Okay, the second one, next one. Next slide. Okay, see, this is we call it the amber zone, because if even there's no fire there, but if the wind blows, this is on the western edge of our community, along the gate 9, 10 area. If the breeze coming from the ocean side, if there's a fire, you remember a couple of years ago, there were huge fire from along the coast area. So if we, fire department require us to clean those up. If we don't clean, they call the amber zone. Fire can start anytime in the summertime. So this is before they clean. Then the next slide, please. So this is after they clean. So there you can see how much work involved. And those work, you don't realize that because they're outside our community. And that's why I want to explain now they're about catching up. So if you feel your area, your maintenance, your trimming is slow down, complaints, that's the reason, but they try to catch up. That's the first point. And then next one is, of course, we because of a drought situation, we've been sort of bragging about to try to ask people to convert their turf to ground cover, because by doing that, we save water, we save labor, we save noise. And I want you to, and in fact, so far, about 185 residents or manors made a request. Among those, 36 of them have been completed, 26 in progress, a little bit over 100 still in the planning stage. So, but now because the weather is getting too hot, they have to stop this process and resume in fall season or September-ish. Now, let me show you this. This is my yard. This is before the removal of the grass. Now, after the next slides, this is after they plant the ground cover. That we call this a two-tune ground cover. The little greener ones, they call the precumbens, juniper precumbens. And then the little like a different shade of a green, they call demondia. And when they filled up, it will be very nice. In fact, and now I didn't have a chance to take a picture, but now it's like every little dots become a wider spread. It takes about 6 months to grow up. So I'm strongly suggest or recommend people, if you like this, please just make a request and tell the supervisor of landscape and change it to ground cover. See, since I have this, I don't hear the mowing noise anymore. Don't you like that? Huh? All right, the next project ongoing is we call the soil sensor pilot project. This is offered by a company that no charge to us, because what they want eventually is, well, right now in our community we have only one weather station. So we, based on that one weather station, determine how much water we're going to irrigate our grass or bushes. But we feel that because of such a large community, so much varieties, that's certain places may be overwatering. other places maybe not enough watering. So that's why that's the incentive for this project. They actually put the sensors into the soil so that we can, and to compare the amount of water based on those sensors telling us compared to our historical values. Now, let me show you the next slides. So because of our gate 11 and gate 14 are without recycled water for irrigation, that's why we decided to take a gate 11, gate 14 as a pilot study area. And now this picture shows there's a little sort of umbrella type of thing. There's 27 sensors in the gate 11 area. And the next one is gate 14. There's 31 sensors in gate 14 area. So in a couple months, hopefully we'll get a sense as to right now how much water that those sensors tell us compared to historical values. So hopefully we can, we can save some water. If we cannot save water, then those companies wouldn't be interested at all. And then, of course, I want to appreciate Bunny, our director, spent so much time looking the contract because she want to make sure we don't fall into the trap. Like someone give us a free project and then later on we are tied to that company. No, we're definitely not. So appreciate, thanks to the Bunny's effort.
James, real quickly, I
yes.
assume once you get all this data and once this is going on in third, that data will obviously be available to United if they need to
Well,
take that.
That's
And GRF?
No, that's up to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can look at the data. The data will be
Of
available.
course,
what you-
yeah.
Right.
Of course,
To see
yeah.
how well it works.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if we do, we think that we can save some water by doing this. So this company only saying that the among the water we saved, they'll take a certain percentage as our payment in the future. So all in all, it sounds pretty good. But we're not tying anything now until we decide to go for it after this pilot testing area, and then we'll relooking the situation, renegotiate everything, right, Bunny?
I just want to clarify something.
Yeah.
That what the company will want is a certain percentage of our savings. And you said
Right.
payment, so I just wanted to
saving.
clarify that. It's-
Thank you
yes.
for correction. Yes, certain profit, yeah. If we're saving money, able to saving money on the water.
And
Okay.
we selected those areas because those areas do not have recycled water.
That's true. And then, although Gate 9 area, you do not have us recycle water right now, but I'll report later that the El Toro water, that's one of the good news, getting ready, as Brad also alluded to, that they're getting ready to install the recycled water pipes.
And
Just
one
the-
last thing, if we're not done with this meeting by 12:30, you have to run it.
I know that.
So I would say,
After 12:30?
Because
Okay,
I
quickly.
have to
You
leave. I
asked
have-
me to
well, I have
finish.
to leave.
In other words, okay, well, one more thing is, I was away last month, but while I was gone, our committee, landscape committee, come up with a fancy term they call the modernization. Well, that's going to be a future project. Basically, that modernization is to improve the looking of our community, make that better. Now, if you have a chance to look at the cul-de-sac 8, just in front of Clubhouse 3, that United done to their landscape, and those people went to look at it, all like it. So in our third area, we're going to choose the Gate 5, Gate 6 area because right now we feel that's the worst landscape area. We're going to do the pilot modernization next year first. And if you like resident, if you like that cul-de-sac 8 in front of Clubhouse 3, then let us know. We'll do a very similar thing. And that's what, at the stage we're at. I think that's all I have for
Okay,
the landscape.
I knew I would be able to speed you up. So, okay. So, we are now up to E, which is the report of the traffic hearings. Annette?
Okay, this is the Village Traffic Committee May 2017 report. Now, we had other neutrals in because we had a mandatory meeting that we had from Ted, and this is the report I got from the.
Is your microphone on?
I apologize. All right, this is the May traffic report 2017. For the month of May, we had 240 citations issued. We had the number of no fine citations issued were 50. The number of monetary fines imposed was 190. We had the number of voided or suspended actually was 23. The number of fines paid was 11. The people that attended traffic school was 3. And then closed citations was 87. So that would be the percentage of closed citations was 36%. A large number of these citations have to do with clutter, by the way. And we're really trying to get people to come into compliance about clutter throughout the village. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the report of the Communications Committee. Bert Baum.
It's really simple. I have nothing to communicate because we haven't had a meeting, but there will be one next Monday on the 26th at 1:30 in the Cypress Room, and we invite all residents to attend and tell us how they want us to communicate better with them. And if they have suggestions related to the breeze or anything else we're doing, we welcome them.
And we still had, we had our evening orientation this past month, and how did it go?
I don't have a report on that.
It went really well. We probably had, it was a little bit smaller turnout. We probably had about, Steve, you were there, maybe 18?
Yeah, 18, 20.
Yeah, lots of good questions.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is report of the Energy and Technology Committee. Oh, Bill Walsh again. Gee.
I won the lottery. Yeah, there's actually a lot of interesting things going on. I'm going to start out with the solar. We had to run conduit to 3 different transformers than we had anticipated. We probably ran between 600 and 900 feet of conduit, and that job is done. It's been run to 3 different, from 3 buildings that have the solar installation on them to 3 buildings that have the transformer we need to put the power on. As of yesterday, I'd hoped that Solar Optimum would be in-house and starting that work. Found out last night that the city has to review their electrical schematics submitted by Solar Optimum, and once that's done, they should be here. It's really important at this point that they get here soon, because Friday the 30th is the last day that we can, if we complete it by Friday the 30th, we will be eligible for net metering 1, which has been our goal all along. And so it's a real hot item. Ernesto has talked to Chris Macon over at the city and to get this expedited. And hopefully we'll have a crew from Solar Optimum here before the end of the week working on it. It shouldn't take them too long. They do this stuff pretty rapidly. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing that we talked about, I guess, of significance in the board, in the committee meeting, was talking about moving on to 2-story buildings and replacing the LED lights there. And we're going to do pilots there because there's not much return on investment, and because they have such a varying number of fixtures on their walkways and stuff that, or on their manners on the walkways, their porch lights, I'll call them for lack of a better word. We're probably not going to go through the same process we did with the 3-story buildings, where we could have one standard light fixture that we could replace everything with. So we're going to see what's going on there. And we, Bert and I went out with staff at about 5 in the morning here about 2 weeks ago and looked at emergency lighting in the garage of a Garden Villa building. In fact, it was Lynn Jarrett's Garden Villa building, and determined that placing 3 emergency lights down in that area would probably be adequate in case there's a power outage. And so we're going to look and see what the cost of that is and go forward with putting emergency lighting in there in case there's power outages. So one last thing. Oh, one last thing, and it ties into this, is the street lighting. On June 5th, I went down to San Diego to attend the California Street Lighting Association, of which I never knew there was such a thing. In fact, it's only one of its kind in the 50 states. But it was a very enlightening experience to go down there, no pun intended. They really are representing and advocating for municipalities. And one of the things I learned when I was down there, that there are over 50 cities in the service area of Southern California Edison who have opted to buy their own streetlight poles. And the reason they've done that is because, and it's the same reason we want to do it here in the village in Third Mutual, is that it gives them control over the kind of fixtures they can put on those poles, and the kind of lighting levels that they can put with LED lighting or other types of lighting if they want to. And it also is going to save them thousands and thousands of dollars in electric costs by having their own poles, because the tariffs that SCE charges are pretty significant, and it's going to be a cost saving. So it's the same reasoning that we want to go and purchase the street poles in the community. One of the things that was brought out that was very interesting, and there's a lot of concern in the municipalities, is the telecommunications community. The people up in Silicon Valley want things to be able to boost the amount of bandwidth. And so they're putting all of these fixtures on these street poles, on these light poles, and on telephone poles, so they can get more data going through. The problem is for municipalities is the way there's a bill going through the legislature right now that would give unrestricted access to these telecommunication companies to any municipality's light poles. The problem is some of these municipalities actually have found that these telecommunications companies, it's a great idea, they put their equipment on the pole and then they go bankrupt. And these municipalities have been stuck with a bill of having to remove this equipment off of these poles. So I wrote a note to Cynthia Connors of the city on the city council member, and let her know about this. So the recommendation was to get together with their legal counsel and figure out how they can force these telecommunication companies, if in fact they do come to the city of Laguna Woods to put their equipment on, that they're bonded and that they get some kind of escrow account. So in case they do go bankrupt, the city has the money to go out and take and remove this telecommunication equipment. But it looks like the new wave of things to come is going to be a lot more things on your light pole than just a light standard. And of course, the engineers in the group were saying, well, gee whiz, can our light pole support all this extra weight? So there's a lot of issues that are still up in the air, but it was a very interesting conference. And I think when we start talking about this, we've got to sign our agreement with Southern California Edison by mid-August. And I talked to a number of the city people there, and I said, that Edison contract, have anybody modified it dramatically? And they just looked at me and laughed and said, Edison is the opinion, take it or leave it. And there's your contract. If you don't like it, then don't sign up for it. So that's my report. Thank you.
Excuse me, Bill, isn't one of the other reasons why you really are pushing on the light poles is because of how long it has taken Southern California Edison to replace burnt out lights, and it's a safety issue of, even though you've begged them, cajoled them, sent them letters, et cetera, et cetera. Isn't that the case? So now-
That is, and they've been told on a number of occasions, and I think Ernesto Munoz wrote a letter to them, and we started to get better response. The last report I saw, though, there were some more that were still in progress. So you have to keep on them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
because
true.
it's like, in some instances, the lights are out for months, which is, which, we're requesting, and they're just not doing what they're supposed to do.
Right, and yeah, what can I
Okay.
say?
Okay, so we are now up to, and you better make this quick, James, the
You keep
report of the
talking.
Water Committee.
Sure. Okay, well, first is I want to tell two good news. Well, one of them, Brad already sort of mentioned that now the El Toro Water, finally, they got our Gate 9 area, all the designing of the recycled water pipes done late last year, but they didn't have fun at the time. Now they got the money, so they're ready to install the recycle pipes. And there's only a couple of things I mentioned earlier that because in order for them to install those recycle pipes, they need own that little piece of land. So there's a couple easement they need acquired from us. That means we have to, well, we will make some more money on that. The second part is because of the late last year, early this year's rainfall, therefore our drought almost completely gone, but not 100%. But in May meeting, El Toro Waters, the board of directors decided, if you remember the August 1st, 2015, because of the drought, they cut our irrigation allowable water to only half. That's how we got a so huge the Tier 4 water bill for the irrigation side. But last year, 2016 August, they said, well, because of the situation improves, so they increased from 50% to 75%. So like April water bill, we still have it for irrigation, we still have some Tier 4 water bills. Well, now the El Toro told me because of the rainfall, so they decide effective in May this year, they're going to change it back to 100%. So when we get our May bill, we'll see whether that made a difference, whether it's May or June. But the good news is going back to 100%. Now, of course, I will assume the way our landscape staff watering our lawn, don't our lawn look pretty than before? So we'll keep that way. I told landscape, hey, don't change anything. Keep watering them. we can afford the watering now. Okay, well, back to reality. The first slides, please. Back to reality. We still, well, although I want to mention they didn't change anything about the domestic use or internal use of water. Therefore, those residents are using too much water either because of leaking or because they just simply using too much water, they'll get Tier 4 bill. Of course, it's much easier for Gate 11. We can pin down who's using too much water because each house has their own water meter. But the rest of the community, they have a sharing. So we have to, of course, we appreciate our directors like Susan. She's talking to the residents in building 2244 and find out who is wasting water, and we are after them. Once we pin down who's wasting water. So now, could I have a first slide, Chuck? Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know whether you can see it, but what I like to see is at this April, compare April this year to April last year, we still be able to, our Tier 4, Tier 3 higher water bill still getting on the downside. So that's really good news. Although And in March and April, we do have some irrigation Tier 4 water bill. Hopefully, that will be gone by May bill comes. And all those effort where high tier coming down is because of a cooperation between the staff, Mark Stahl's group, and our director's effort. So let me show you the detail of next slides. I don't know whether you can see or not, but show the next slides. Okay, this one I kind of blown up a little bit. In other words, if at the top says a ticket in, that means Mark would knows that one has a Tier 4 water. We tell them, so they're gonna ticket in and find out and check it out what is the leak or which part is who's wasting water. And then the next one is fixed 3 weeks ago or fixed 2 months ago. Those means our director visited those high Tier 4 residents and then find out, oh, they fixed the problem. And and that is between, I guess, it's Jews. We spent a lot of time staring at the water meter. That previous table I was provided by Mark. See, the plumbing division really helping us. But now I want to show you what Jews doing. Could I have a next? This is a Jews report on the water meter staring results. It said this one is leak, that one's no leak, blah, 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 blah. So I want to thank everyone's effort. Where our higher tier water is in a downtrend. So thank you. Oh, that's it for the, do you have any comments? No? No? Okay. John? No? Okay. Oh, here comes back. Next one is Birdbaum, please.
Here again, we did not have a resident meeting, but there is going to be one on tomorrow at 1:30 in the Willow Room. So those of you who want to know what's going on in leasing and all, please attend our meetings and you can see what kind of discussions we had and how we reached those conclusions. Thank you.
So now we would be up to the GRF committee highlights, is that correct? Or did you already do them? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's start with the Business Planning Committee. Steve?
Oh, okay. Okay, the only thing I have to report here is we're in our 2018 business plan module for a budget. And I wanted to bring up, since we have a brand new budget calendar, that on Wednesday, July 12th at 9:30 a.m. in the boardroom here is our next meeting to review the budget for 2018. Then the next semi-final review is on Friday, August 11th at 9:30 a.m. here. And then the board resolution is Tuesday, September 19th, 9:30 a.m. here.
Okay, thank you. And is there anything to report on CAC?
Yes, there is. The next GRF CAC meeting will be held on July 29th at 9 o'clock, and it'll be here in the boardroom.
Okay.
I just want to tell everyone.
We didn't get up to communications yet.
Yes, sorry.
We have
You're
a new,
right.
we have a new order.
You're right.
Is there
Sorry.
anything to report? This is a new way it's done, so I have to follow it. Is there anything to report for finance? Steve?
Yes, three things I'll hear real quickly. Rosemary and I went to a GRF Finance Committee meeting. While there, we analyzed some of their financials and found out some good stuff and some other things that are happening. State and federal taxes have been scrubbed down by the staff in conjunction with the GRF treasurer, and they are going to be saving thousands of dollars in this area, and we're going to owe a lot less. Item 2 is licensing fees. This is for like the AX system and things like that. For automation that we have, that we're bringing in, you're going to see the fees go up a little bit because we have to do that to maintain upgrades and keep the integrity of our systems. Number 3 is the capital plan proposals. Brad Hudson presented a great list of GRF projects with justification. And now GRF needs to prioritize the projects and get them ready so we can figure out what we're going to do for our assessments next year.
Thank you. Anything to report for landscape for GRF?
Yes, Bonnie, you have comments.
One of the things that we talked about was the continuing maintenance on, thank you, on the Aliso Creek. It seems to always be a problem, but they are, GRF is continuing to work with the appropriate agencies to be able to maintain the creek and to protect the wildlife. Cattails is always a problem, and they're trying to find a solution to be able to keep the cattails down. The other thing they talked about was Clubhouse 6 for turf reduction. That is going to be one of the next projects. They're going, and this will be done this year. In fact, I don't recall the exact dates, but I think in about a month, they're going to be starting on that project, and they will be taking out the turf and replanting the area.
Okay, great. Anything on maintenance and construction?
I have no report.
Okay. Okay, Bert, media and communications for GRF.
Okay, I'll make this really quick. The emphasis has been on TV. Committee is looking at that. We're changing our TV6, the logo and the name. It's going to be Village TV. And of course, they want to improve both the reception and the programming. And as you know, we're going to increase the bandwidth, so you should get faster internet at no increase in cost. I want to point out that you can get a TV guide. Many people don't know this, to our TV stations. It lists all the meetings that are televised, the movies, and everything for the month.
And they are located where?
They're located at on the first floor. You can pick them up, and I think they're available in some of the boardrooms, in some of the
Clubhouses?
clubhouses.
Oh, because I was talking to someone about it the other day, and they didn't even know that we had one. So I was like, So, and it's a good piece of information, so that's why I asked Bert to show that.
The other thing is they're going to have a Facebook. Now we're going to have stronger representation on Facebook. And this is more of an experimental to see what kind of reaction we get that way.
Okay, anything on thank you very much, Bert. Anything on mobility and vehicles?
Yes, just a little bit. The committee reviewed a long list of proposed vehicle purchases, and a lot of people couldn't understand why they needed so many different customized features. And each department head has gone through the vehicles in their area. They've looked at things such as ages of them, the repairs required, frequency of cost, downtime, replacement of certain equipment, things like this. And they came forward with this list. I think it was scrubbed down very well because every person had a comment. There was an instantaneous response to it. And a lot of people don't realize that if you are getting like 5 pickups, you know, you may have different kinds of beds, you may need crew cab, you may need special liners on the inside, things like that. So we went through that, spent a lot of time on it. And I think now people understand a lot better about what our needs are in the community and how we can update our fleet. You want me to go ahead to the other next committee too, security?
Yeah.
Okay. As Brad, our GM, mentioned earlier, the existing gatehouses of 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are being looked at for possibly redo next year and putting in the gate barriers. I think this was largely in response to United and Third Mutual coming together and making a joint resolution that they do this because of different problems we're having throughout the community. And they've listened, and the chairman of this committee has told me that they are trying to find funding for next year. It looks like they're going to find a lot, and they're going to be able to to go ahead with building in a lot of this technology and structures that we need to complete a lot of the projects in the main areas where we have co-ops and condos. Another part of this is the gate access system technology that they brought forward that's going to have to go into each of these security gates. And they've scrubbed that down and found out that they didn't need as much money as they thought. However, this has to go as a package with the gate installations and remodeling. So it's a whole package together, and I think they've scrubbed this down pretty well. So just to let you know that you're going to be seeing more on these two projects in the future.
Okay. We already talked about the traffic hearings, and is there any information on the PAC renovation?
The traffic hearing will be held again tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Okay, great, John, thank
And
you.
with regard to the item J, there was a detailed meeting by the consultants, and they outlined where they are, and that's about the extent of the of where we are. Nothing further has taken place.
Okay, so so we have a list of future items, which we don't have to go over. So this would be a time for director comments. So would any directors like to make a comment? I'm looking at my speaker list.
Oh, yes, I have one.
I don't see anything listed there.
Where is it?
So therefore, what could I tell you? It says one, okay. One, Steve.
Okay, just as an update to the people in Third Community, and I'm not sure whether this falls under M&C or landscape, but the crews are out now replacing the cross beams for the fences throughout Third Mutual. I've reported several of them. They've already come to fix them. So if people need fences mended and new cross pieces or what do you call them, posts need to be replaced, be sure to call in and get a work order on it while these folks are out and doing it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so there are no other speaker requests. Wow. So this meeting will recess for lunch and reconvene to executive session, which will be run by William Walsh, who is speaking a lot today. Thank you all very much, and happy 4th of July.
Nice trip.